might be live. There we go. I am for sure live now. Hey, everybody. Hi, Taijan. Hi, Ray. Gunmen of the Apocalypse, but the game is Doom. WAD titled Ao Oni. I didn't understand any of that after Doom, but Gunmen of the Apocalypse, but in a Doom game sounds funny. Or interesting, I guess. Not funny per se. Back to Earth may be known for being the self-referential episode, but let's remember that Gunmen was the one where the crew could actually hear the Red Dwarf theme tune on a piano. Good point. Hi, Special Iron. Hi, Tolchok. Classic Emmy-winning episode. Yep. I managed to make 3 videos about this. There's this one, and then the cat one, and then the one where I compare it to Fistful of Datas, although I do focus more on Fistful of Datas. Hi, Abstruse One. If anyone cares, this is caffeinated citrus flavor, and I don't know what citrus flavors are in it. It does taste vaguely citrusy, but, like, I'm not sure. I think it's a combination of, like, like lemon. I definitely taste a little bit of grapefruit, and I think there's lemon, and there's probably orange, but I don't really taste the orange that much. I don't know why I thought anyone wanted to know what I was drinking, but there you go. Hi, Michael. Hi, Flash. Oh, Flash is on time. He wanted to see Gunmen of the Apocalypse. I thought it'd be funny if you ended up being late for this one, since you were the one that suggested I save it for this weekend. When I first saw the trailers for Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, I immediately thought, oh, it's Gunmen of the Apocalypse, but with a big budget. Oh, yeah, it is kind of like that. Going by what I've heard, I never saw it. Robert Hewitt Wolf, the writer of Fistful of Datas, joked on Tumblr he always wanted to write for Red Dwarf as a dream job, but that he only kind of did because of Gunmen. That's funny. Hi, Noah. Possibly the nicest thing I liked about Fistful of Datas was the scene where he's talking to Spot and she's looking up at him as though she's really listening to him. I know, that was so cute. I like Spot. She's a very typical cat in the best ways. I didn't suggest that. I was just happy you decided to. I guess that sounds about right, now that you mention it. I noticed that there's going to be a sequel to the movie Twister. Is there? This is the first time hearing about it. Does Cat grow whiskers like facial hair, but he shaves it off? Well, we've seen Cat with facial hair before, and I think it's just like a normal beard. Hi, Angus. I was just rewatching your vlogs today. Wacky timing. Not really. I've been doing these for a while. Basically, I ran out of things to stream, and so I just started doing watch parties of my vlog videos. A Twister now with more twist. Oh yeah, this technically isn't a donation drive, but I still haven't paid my rent, so if anyone is feeling generous and would like to help me with that, there are links in the description and pinned at the top of the chat if you want. Twister got a sequel before Anaconda. I thought Anaconda got sequels before. Also, hi 7 Beatles of Doom. I missed your name somehow. Okay, well, I guess I'll get started since I'm all caught up, and I try to wait until 1 to actually get started, but oh well. Here we go. Oh. Let me turn it down a little on my end. Sorry, just gotta reload because it's been paused for a week.
It was you who planned Pallister's murder, but your twin sister Maxine squibbed him off. You decided to take the rap knowing you had the perfect alibi in me. That's why you came on so strong that night.
We open on Lister playing one of those total immersion AR games, which is going to be a plot point later. This one is a detective-style game called Gumshoe.
Sir, I think you should come and take a look at this.
The last human alive, everyone.
Honestly, you haven't been off this machine in a month.
God.
It's an AR computer simulation game. I'm supposed to hand you over to the cops and wind up with a goody-goody heroine. It's not your fault, it's the way you're programmed.
She's not bad, she's just programmed that way.
Choose your
There you
character.
go. So apparently the only way Crichton can get through to Lister is to go into the game himself.
Oh, it's so frivolous.
That's an interesting look for Crichton.
Yeah, it looks like it's part of his whole...
Anyway, it turns out that they've accidentally wandered into a rogue simulant hunting zone.
Sir, you have to turn off the AR console. We have to close down and continue on silent running in order to avoid detection.
Naturally, Rimmer has something to say about Lister's gaming habits.
Everybody knows you only use the AR machine to have sex. It's pathetic watching you grind away. You're like a dog that's missing his master's leg.
He's not wrong.
I don't just play the role-play games. What about the sporting simulations, like Wimbledon?
You only play Wimbledon because you're having it off with that jailbait ball girl.
She's not jailbait, she's 17.
That line is even funnier to Americans since our age of consent is 18. Also,
Apparently, someone told me in the comments section, apparently it isn't over 18 everywhere in America, just like in the bigger places like California and New York. So, just thought that was interesting, kinda.
what's up with a Wimbledon game where you can screw the tennis players? Somebody had to program that in, you know. Anyway, they're in rogue simulant territory and they're running in silent mode in an attempt to avoid detection. This is why Rimmer's uniform is red again. He switched back to soft light mode to save on power.
Scanners report a battle-class cruiser on intercept.
Rimmer suggests giving up on Red Dwarf and surrendering because of course he does.
They despise humans and all forms of humanoid life. They believe you to be the vermin of the universe, sir.
Didn't even know they'd met him.
Anyway, the simulants have contacted them, and if they find out that there are humans, humanoids, or anything previously human or made by humans, they will destroy the ship. But Lister has an idea.
Incoming.
I am Tarka Doll, an ambassador of the great Vindelian Empire. The Vindelian people despise all humans. The Vindelian Empire has pledged to exterminate them all.
And yet somehow that doesn't convince them.
Hi. How's it going, bud?
Here we go, outtake.
By the way, there's a great outtake for this bit, since they had to hand Crichton's eyes to Robert Llewellyn while he had his eyes closed.
Boarding this vessel is an act of war, ergo we surrender. And as prisoners of war, I invoke the
Hi,
All
Jane.
Nations Agreement, article number 39436175880932-B.
Watch Rimmer's expression almost as soon as Crichton starts talking. He's all, God damn it, you're gonna embarrass me in front of the simulants, aren't you?
All nations attending the conference are only allocated one car parking space. Is that entirely relevant, sir? I mean, here we are in mortal danger, and you're worried about the Chinese delegates bringing 2 cars. Primitive.
He just
There'll be
keeps
no
going.
sport at all. I have no alternative.
So the simulant thinks they're too weak to be of any challenge, so he knocks them all out for 2 weeks and upgrades their ship in the meantime.
Now at least you may prove to be of some small amusement.
You have 2 Earth minutes before we attack.
Let's get out of here.
Wait, we don't run, we strike.
Have I mentioned that Cat is kind of a badass now? In any case, the idea is not to run away, as the simulants are probably expecting, but to hit them with all they've got. So Starbug looks like it's fleeing, but then it suddenly turns and fires on the simulants.
What are they doing? Power up the weapons.
The simulant ship is about to explode, but they plan on taking the Red Dwarf crew with them, and counter by sending a computer virus.
See you in Silicon Hell.
Crichton thinks that if he can contract the virus himself and figure out how to fight it, he can basically create an antidote that
That
they
guy's
can use
genuinely
on
kind of
Starbug.
threatening.
Do I have your permission to sacrifice myself, sirs?
Do lemmings like cliffs? Granted.
Only according to Disney. Anyway, Crichton plans on creating what's called a Dove program.
A Dove program spreads peace through the system, obliterating the viral cells as it goes. I will have to dedicate all my runtime to its solution.
Is there anything we can do? Can we help?
Watch my dreams.
So they tune into Crichton's subconscious, his dream basically, and his trying to fight the virus is translated into an old-timey western where Crichton is the sheriff. You can't really see it in this shot, but the name of the bar he's entering is Last Chance Saloon.
Now, boys, I don't want any trouble. I'm just doing my rounds.
Unfortunately, it shows that he's not doing very well, as he's depicted as a washed-up drunk.
They say you used to be faster than a toilet stop in rattlesnake country.
Sorry, I tripped over your boot there, Mr. Jimmy, sir.
And now the virus is attacking in the form of a gang whose leader looks like one of the simulants, also representing the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Death, war, famine, and pestilence.
How can I be of service?
We want your sorry ass out of here. You got 1 hour.
Crichton is already giving up.
There's some way we can get in there and help him?
Once again, Kat is the one who suggests helping Crichton. Of course, he doesn't know how to do it, but Lister realizes that they can patch an AR game into Crichton's mind, and they can enter his dream through one of the games and help him that way.
What did I tell you? We don't even have to leave the room.
So they go with a Western-themed game called Streets of Laredo, and each chooses a character. Kat chooses the gunslinger.
Rimsey?
Rimsey chooses the brawler, leaving Lister with the knife thrower. They can't get hurt, and they can leave the game at any time.
There's a button on the inside of your glove. When you want to get out, just clap. Well, let's mosey on into town.
Aren't they adorable?
They look so silly there.
Don't worry, Rimmer's got this all figured out. He's seen plenty of westerns.
Dry white wine and Perrier, please.
By the way, notice that the Red Dwarf theme is being played on the piano.
He means 3 shots of gulping whiskey, ma'am.
Naturally, Rimmer can't hold his liquor and immediately throws up into the hat of a big scary guy, of course.
A man beans up in the hat of Bear Strangler McGee.
Bear Strangler McGee, best name ever.
Relax. You said yourself, Lister, no one can hurt us. Besides, you're forgetting. I'm Dangerous Dan McGrew, bear fist fighter extraordinaire.
I think we just heard a bit of Chris Berry's Ronald Reagan impression.
Apparently it was Clint Eastwood. I thought it sounded like Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan used to be in westerns in his acting days, but yeah, Clint Eastwood is obviously what he was going for there.
Lola, all the valuables are in this here box.
Anyway, Crichton is symbolically giving up the fight.
It's the sad git or what?
The crew tries to talk some sense into him, but he doesn't remember who they are.
You're fighting an electronic virus. You're trying to create a Dove program. Some kind of software antidote to wipe it out.
I'll drink to that.
Then this asshole tries to start trouble.
The name's Brett Riverboat. Knife man.
So Lister steps in and shows that his knife-throwing skills are spot on. But the guy has a gang.
At the same time, impersonating Reagan was Barry's specialty as an impressionist. Yeah, I think that's why I thought of that before Clint Eastwood.
Now it's Kat's turn to show off his skills.
Who in the heck are you? They call me the Kid. The Riviera Kid.
Kat really steals the show in this episode.
Does he
even more than
ever?
usual. Anyway, after they shoot, he draws his own guns and shoots their bullets out of the air. Crichton tries to leave town and they have to stop him, but the gang gets in their way, and Rimmer, of all people, kicks their asses but good.
Marvelous.
And then Kat stops Crichton from...
This isn't quite as impressive, but Kat shooting bullets out of the air makes me think of a scene from the Dark Tower series where Roland shoots at another guy, his bullet goes into the barrel of the other guy's gun, and the guy's gun explodes in his face. But I don't know, for some reason it made me think of that. I'm sure shooting bullets out of the air is probably like an old Western trope or something.
From getting away with an amazing trick shot. Yikes, even I don't think I could consume that much coffee.
2 more bowls.
But I am sober, honest.
Meanwhile, Kat has figured out that Crichton's guns are symbolic of the Dove program.
They got little doves carved on them. There's no place for the bullets to go.
And once they hand Crichton the guns, he starts to remember.
I get a name. Smee.
Smeghead?
That's it. He remembers me.
But now the 4 horsemen are here and the crew has
Rimmer.
to face them. That's such a great shot.
Now I remember you. You're a computer virus. Have infection, will travel.
I think I missed the audience
Unfortunately,
groaning.
the virus spreads to the game and they lose their special abilities. But they don't realize it yet and are still pretty confident.
Enjoy the show.
But Cat can't even seem to hold up his guns. They're actually pretty heavy, as I'll talk about more in the next Cat video. Lister can't throw his knives properly, and Rimmer can't even pick up a weapon.
It would appear that due to circumstances completely beyond my control, there's been a bit of a cock-up in the bravado department.
Been a bit of a cock-up.
It's always a good episode when Rimmer gets knocked over the head, repeatedly. Also, they can no longer exit the game, so they try getting their helmets off. Which they eventually manage to do, leaving Crichton to take care of the virus.
Oh, hi, Moonbeam.
I'm not afraid, Mr. Detzer.
And even though they can't help him anymore, they've bought him enough time to figure out what he needs to do.
Go for your guns, you scum-sucking mollusks.
So he creates the antidote with 2 minutes to go until Starbug crashes into a planet.
How long will it take? Just a few seconds. How long to impact? Just a few seconds. We're not gonna make it.
But Crichton apparently manages to load the Dove program in time for Starbug to get away.
Such a
Way
good
to go,
ending.
guys. And so ends Gunmen of the Apocalypse as
Love
Starbug rides off into
They
the
are
sun.
badass here. I love it. I gotta
Oh
get my
God, I
heater,
love
but
this
I'll be in.
episode so much. In fact, if forced to choose, this would probably be my favorite Red Dwarf episode of the entire series. It's also generally considered a fan favorite, and it won an International Emmy Award in 1994, so I'm not alone there. As for why I like it, well, this show tends to have a lot of fun with taking these four characters who are very different from each other, and usually their differences are accentuated as they get on each other's nerves and
Needed
such.
my space
The
heater.
writing is good enough to support that, and it's funny and all, but I really enjoy the episodes where they band together. I just find the camaraderie of these kinds of episodes to be a nice, refreshing break from that. The boys from the Dwarf stick together. It's actually very appropriate that this episode came right after Legion, where they were shown that they're more than the sum of their parts. I remember having a similar opinion of The Last Day, and this episode has some similarities to that. Basically, Crichton had to make a sacrifice and was all set to do it alone, but Cat steps up and suggests they all help him, and they do. And in both cases, Crichton ends up beating the enemy on his own in the end. Though the rest of the crew definitely helped a lot more here than they did in The Last Day. Another refreshing thing about this episode is that everyone gets a moment in the sun and to be a badass. That's kind of the nice thing about Season 6 overall. They're shown to be able to work together very well, and as much joking as there is about how inefficient they are, really these episodes show the opposite. I mean, being in deep space and separated from the mothership isn't exactly an ideal situation, but they do pretty well for themselves, all things considered. They definitely are able to get by. And again, the whole Western theme is a nice change from the usual sort of surroundings. It was filmed at an Old West reenactment town in Kent, which has its own website, such as it is, and apparently you can still visit it. Fun fact, while they were making this episode, the script got around to someone who told them that it was way outside the budget, so they better cancel it, except that they had already finished filming it by then. Of course, while the Western scenes are the focus of the episode, that part of it doesn't even start until just before the halfway point, and there's plenty of other good stuff outside of it, like Lister playing the detective game and the bit where they try to fool the simulants by pretending to be aliens named after Indian food. The simulants themselves are pretty cool too, and legitimately intimidating. Notice that their ship kind of resembles a cow skull, a symbol you'd see in a Western. The episode even has its own
cool
unique
too.
theme song, so they definitely put a lot of work into this one, and it definitely paid off. Hell, I'm almost sad that I'm done talking about it now. Next up is Emo Hawk, Polymorph II. See you then.
Hi, Morgan. I'll go ahead and let it play since it's different music.
I think I've devised a fair and equitable system of choosing who should survive. It's based on age, rank, seniority, usefulness. To cut a long story short, it's me.
Naturally. Oh, that was weird that it, whatever. I think I didn't see the Channel Awesome logo that time unless I just went... Shut up, phone! I've got a weak connection. So, like, the cord for my phone, anytime it's plugged in, it makes all these noises. Okay.
Oh, where'd I leave? Oh, there we go. I did highlight it. You haven't paid your rent. I now have the image of that tax man from Better Than Life crashing the stream, waiting to crush your little fummies. That's how I think that's how he said it, little fummies. You never know. I might get my little fummies crushed. I like that you posted she's not bad. She's just rendered that way before I said almost the same thing in the video. The blooper with the opening scene. What do I do now, Dad? I don't remember that blooper. There's a great smeg up where Craig Charles forgets to remove the groin attachment. I think I do remember that one. Oh, Winger did that. She's only 17 song. I didn't get why you said insert Winger joke here too until you posted that. Yeah, that song's kind of gross, isn't it, in retrospect? The movie Seven almost got a sequel about a psychic detective tracking down a John Doe copycat killer who also has psychic powers. What? I just realized Rimmer has worn 3 different uniforms corresponding to the 3 primary colors of light: red, green, and blue. Oh yeah, I guess so. That's pretty cool. I like to imagine Special Iron as being just like Crichton in real life. Same. I'm always imagining Crichton sitting at a computer whenever I talk to Special Iron. Though I do know what he looks like, but yeah. I'm just used to imagining him as Crichton. Any excuse to do a Western episode will do. Yeah, pretty much. I'm sure there was a point in time where everybody was doing Western episodes. It's embarrassing. Here you are correcting in front of this genocidal, xenophobic maniac. No offense. He did say that, didn't he? I think I cut that line out because it was too similar to the joke I made. Let's swap out Crichton for Rimmer and see how eager to help Kat is. Yeah. Dennis Lill, who played the Simulant and Brother Death, is actually a New Zealander. Huh. He hit his accent well. Try white wine and Perrier, please. I think I referenced that in one of the later videos. Kat would be conflicted as it would mean his own life as well, plus he's risking all his outfits. That's true. I remember that bit, the gun tore half his face off and he wandered down the beach to be devoured by the monstrosities. Yep, that's the bit I was thinking of. You don't forget a scene like that. I haven't read any of those books in years, but there are certain scenes that I still kind of remember fairly vividly. There were so many outtakes of those bullets falling. Yeah, it's kind of interesting when they want to get a perfect shot of some mundane thing. It sometimes takes them like 100 tries to get it just right. I obviously don't include those because, you know, it would drag down the video a bit, but they're kind of interesting to see. Just for the purpose of, you know, seeing how that kind of stuff works. Kind of like Thanos screwing with Star-Lord by turning his lasers into bubbles. Oh, yeah. Sorry, my nose is itchy. I'm not trying to pick it. Ugh. I'm just trying to make it not itchy. No wonder this episode got an award. It's honestly that good. It really is. Heaters are nice. It makes things warm. Yeah, it tends to be like colder downstairs, so I don't want to turn up the thermostat too high. because I don't want it to get too hot upstairs where Lee always is, so a lot of times I turn on my space heater. Hell, sometimes I use it in the summertime because Lee always wants the thermostat turned way down. 26 degrees right now, holy crap, and last night it was 16. For me, Quarantine, Marooned, The Inquisitor, and Back to Reality beat this one out, but Gunmen is still up there for me. Interesting. Those are all good episodes. I think Gunmen's better, though. It's really just a personal taste thing, though. I love your summing up of this episode at the end. I also like how they managed to succeed when they band together, yeah. I used to live by a place like that. It was a theme park. It was called Wild West City. That's interesting. Apparently Laredo is one of those towns like the Pioneer Town in that one episode of South Park. Oh, yeah. That was an interesting episode. Present Dina is sad that she's finished watching it. Ah, damn it, I gotta clean up my nose. Sorry, I'll be right back. Don't have Kleenex out here anymore. Oh, I think I'm all set now. I got my VHS tape signed by Chris Berry and Robert Llewellyn. That's awesome. Howard Goodall knocks it out of the park. Yeah, he's a great I guess musician. I mean, obviously he's a musician. I'm trying to think of the term for someone who does the score. I guess just musician. The guy who does the music of for Invader Zim is really good too. Kevin Manthei is his name, I think. I remember there used to be a Wild West theme park. Actually, it might still exist over here, called the American Adventure. I like that name. I went there once as a kid. It was a lot of fun. No CA logo. Gone, gone, gone. Dina's free. Yeah, this is probably around the time I left Channel Awesome. So it makes sense that it would be about here, I think. Have we finally reached the end of the CA logos? Hopefully. Hi, Mario dude. I'm doing all right. I guess I missed the reference, whatever it was. Oh, Waterworld is not getting a sequel. You're making that up. Oh, yeah. I wish it was just called, Emo Hawk. Adding Polymorph II to it just gives it away. Yeah. Hi, Hershey. Even the Next Generation did a Western episode. Yep. I did a video comparing it to, Gunmen of the Apocalypse. It was originally going to be the other way around. Polymorph II, Emo Hawk. Damn. But I remember reading that they deliberately swapped it around to make it look like a football score. Okay. Rimmer's an RGB light gamer. I don't think Stargate SG-1 did a Western episode, but they did do a Camelot episode. Yeah, Camelot is the other one. I mean, even Transformers G1 did a Camelot episode. That was fun. It's one of my favorites, actually. If you ever do a Monsters rewatch vlog, I have a feeling you will watch A Bond of Silk with a can of off and a fly swatter. Yeah, that'd be funny. If only as a joke. I go. Favorite Red Dwarf horror episode? Ooh, good question. I guess an easier way to answer, I guess an easier way to think of it would be what's the most disturbing Red Dwarf episode? I'm not sure. Maybe Terraform? Terraform's kind of disturbing. I mean, Rimmer doesn't actually get hurt, but he was going to be tortured, and that's kind of unsettling. Speaking of A Bond of Silk, I remember I was completely unprepared for how fast that damn spider moved. I know, you'd think because it's big, maybe it'll move slowly, but nope. Yeah, Polymorph is another good horror-ish episode. Some idiot trapped Massey in my bedroom by accident. I wonder who could have done that. We have that lovely shot of Rimmer and Mr. Flibble debating what to do with us. I always end up pausing on that because it's the last clip. I want the picture of crazy Rimmer on my wall. Composer, thank you. Yeah, musician isn't the right word. It's composer. Yep, composer. Thank you. See, this is why all my videos are scripted. Sometimes I'll just be trying to think of a really obvious word and it just won't come to my mind when I need it to. Oh, we're almost up to season 7, for better or for worse. Kevin Manthai did the Nancy Drew video games? That's interesting. I don't know if I've heard him do anything outside of Invader Zim, but he did great in that show. Invader Zim is one of those shows where like every single episode has its own score. I'm always really impressed by that. Yeah, I remember the American Adventure had a wooden-styled Ferris wheel where the carts were Wild West carriages. That's cute. Waterworld 2, The Search for More Land? Oh, referencing Lord of the Rings in reference to Smeagol is free. I haven't seen Lord of the Rings in ages. Thanks for blessing me when I sneezed, Moonbeam. I remember when I went to the movie theater with my dad watching the first Harry Potter movie, but we left almost right away because some idiot turned the movie's volume up to 200%. Oh, God. I'm trying to think if I've ever been to a movie where they had the volume up too high. Like, sometimes, you know, the volume will spike, like if there's an explosion or something, but I feel like there was one time where I went to the theater and the previews were turned up too high, and I was like, oh shit, I hope the whole movie's not going to be like this. But then once the movie started, it was a normal volume. Wild West, Camelot, and Jack the Ripper. Yeah, Jack the Ripper is another one. There was definitely a Jack the Ripper episode of the first JoJo series. JoJo did not do Wild West or Camelot, though. I remember when TNG also did a Robin Hood episode, Worf was not pleased. That's a good one. Worf wasn't a merry man. That was so funny. God, there's a visual just popped into my head where Q showed up on a horse and Worf just ran after him ran up to him wielding a sword like it was a batleth. It looked so funny to me. He's just like, ugh. Like, I don't think that's quite how you use a sword, Worf. Quarantine is the scariest Red Dwarf episode for me. It is kind of disturbing, yeah. Oh, yeah, especially the bit in the beginning with the doctor. She was genuinely creepy. I almost forgot. Yeah, Demons and Angels also was kind of unsettling. The scene of Lister being forced to eat a tarantula didn't help. Oh, yeah, actually, I didn't include any of that footage in the video. I'm just like, nope. I don't know who tapped Massey in my bedroom, but I bet he was handsome. Or trapped, right. 7 is a magic number. I always liked the number 7. I don't know why. Demons and Angels had me laughing when the cat with tusks comes up. Yeah, that was pretty neat what they did with his teeth there. Oh Christ, we are indeed about to enter what I call Red Dwarf the Wilderness years. Star Trek likes to do Jack the Ripper episodes as much as Western episodes. I don't remember a Jack the Ripper episode. Well, at least not in The Next Generation or DS9. Maybe other series have done it. Those are like the two main Star Trek shows I've watched, I've seen a lot of. First experienced season 7 without the laugh track and it felt weird. I guess it does a little. It definitely feels different. Speaking of movies, I can't wait for the new Ant-Man movie. Yeah, same. Sucks that I won't be able to see it in the theater, but I'll have to somehow dodge spoilers until it's on Disney+. JoJo Part 7 is Wild West? What's Part 7? Let me think. Is Part 7, has there not been an anime of that one yet? Because I don't remember Wild West yet. There was kind of a Wild West themed character, Whole Horse. Weird name. Why Whole Horse? It is funny that in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Jonathan Joestar canonically killed Jack the Ripper. That's true. Also, Jack the Ripper, like, fucking burst out of a horse. That was amazing. That was the moment where I'm like, okay, I think I need to watch this from the beginning. Not even Mr. LaForge's mandolin survived intact. That was so funny. I liked that episode a lot. I remember that scene was all of my nopes right there. Yeah. I guess 3 probably is a magic number in most cases. We went to an anime film in theaters and the subtitles were Google translated. They had to do another showing the following week to fix them. Wow. Scramble. Part 7 hasn't been adapted yet. Okay, well that would be why. I haven't read any of the manga. I only watch the anime adaptations. Sometimes laugh tracks make a show really awkward, yeah. Especially when it's not actually funny. Already no spoilers because I watched Loki? I don't know how Loki spoiled. Oh well. Whole Horse always sounds like Whole Horse to me. I know, it's a weird name. Probably sounds better to a Japanese audience. I I, for whatever reason, like Full House. I now have seen the error of my ways. I liked Full House when I was a kid, and then I kind of grew out of it and realized it wasn't really that good. But to each their own. Yeah, unpopular opinion, but I do think the anime of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure conveys the story better in a lot of cases compared to the manga. That's interesting. Hi, Random Squad Gaming. Welcome back.
Scramble! Scramble! All hands on deck! Emergency drill!
Oh,
Scramble!
that was when he
Rimmer
said
may be
scramble.
somewhat kinda in charge, but that doesn't mean that they'll do everything he says.
Drill, we're pretending Starbug's on fire and under attack.
And I'm pretending to scramble, man. Good night.
You think I'm a petty-minded, bureaucratic nincompoop who delights in enforcing pernickety regulations because he gets some sort of perverse pleasure out of it. And in many ways, you're absolutely
Carmen's just
damn
like,
right.
I mean,
Well, at least
Cartman.
he's honest.
Crichton
Every
is
major
just like,
battle
yup.
in history has been won by the side with the shortest haircuts. Why did the U.S. cavalry beat the Indian nation? Short back and sides versus girly hippie locks.
Hey, for what it's worth, military men always have short hair. I'm sure there's a reason for it.
Vietnam, crew cuts both sides, no score draw.
Anyway, Cat smells something approaching, but it's not coming up on the scanner. So Rimmer suggests a Space Corps directive.
But sir, surely that's impossible without at least one live chicken and a rabbi. But I'm absolutely bewildered as to how sacrificing poultry might clear up the screen problem.
We never find out which one Rimmer was trying to quote this time. In any case, a nearby vessel uncloaks too close to Starbug and causes some damage.
What's he thinking of? Warping that close to another vessel? Damn space hog! A computer-controlled enforcement probe. It's scanning us now.
Anyway, they're being charged with looting derelict ships.
We don't loot Space Corps derelicts. We just hack our way in and swipe what we need.
Let's face it, sir. We're as guilty as the man behind the grassy knoll.
That's pretty funny considering an episode that's coming up in Season 7. The nearest place they can go to is Gelf territory.
They skin human beings alive and turn them into beanbags. Unless you want a triple-buttocked gelf sitting on your face for the rest of eternity, I suggest you rethink.
Because that's the worst part of that situation.
Yeah.
We've lost it. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong panel.
Not so fun fact, that explosion effect was a little more powerful than the creators expected, and the actors got hurt a little.
A welt came up under my eye, and we were in the middle of filming. Luckily, it was just a little bit of a swelling. It wasn't serious.
I felt one lump, then someone else went, they were kind of ripping tons of bits of cork, so it had buried itself in the foam.
For once, Robert Llewellyn was lucky to have the Crichton makeup on.
Look at the size of that thing. It must be a mile across.
A Gelf icon carved out of the solid rock is some kind of warning beacon.
Anyway, they fly close to this stone skull, which the ship blows up. Not totally sure why they did that, but I'm guessing it's so that they'll be less noticeable among the debris.
There's no way to put it out. As soon as it hits the fuel tanks, will blow.
They crash land on the Gelf moon, but manage to land in water, which softens the landing a bit and puts the fires out. While assessing the damage...
At least Mr. Lister's guitar survived intact. Not even Mr. Lister's guitar survived intact.
That's pretty...
This outtake is like the best fucking outtake ever, I think. Maybe.
Great, but the outtake is even funnier.
At least Mr. Guitar... Mr. Guitar! You see, for me, everything's Mr. Microphone. Mr. Rather Sad Knob.
Anyway, Starbug is heavily damaged and they need resources.
Auto repair can take
Oh,
care of
Mr.
everything.
Guitar, you're a sad little
Oxygeneration.
thing. Yeah, too bad I had to cut that
So
out.
their only chance is to try to trade with the Gelfs. So it turns out that Crichton is familiar with this type of Gelf.
They are one of the friendlier Kintatiach, or tribes. It is a great chano, or honor, to be greeted in this manner.
God, here we go
are
with the
indeed
Gelf language.
blessed or blessed.
And Crichton, you are indeed a Kachumbabo, or smart aleck metal git.
Crichton was starting to sound a bit arrogant. So Lister gives this Gelf a bunch of random stuff in hopes of getting a part needed for Starbug in return.
Cool. Dude! What is that thing?
It's an Emo Hawk, sir.
So one of the Gelfs has a pet that is basically a more harmless version of a polymorph,
Mr.
which you
Rather
probably
Sad Knob.
remember was the shape-shifting xenomorph-looking creature from Season 3.
Like all polymorphs, it has the ability to steal emotions from living creatures.
Putting its name in the title was a bit of a spoiler, really.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
So the Gelfs have the part they need, but are expecting them to trade something else for it. Unfortunately, that something else is Lister.
He says in exchange for the oxygeneration unit, he wants you to be his daughter's mate.
Come on, Lister, you've dated worse.
Only due to very poor disco lighting.
Obviously, Lister isn't too hot on this idea.
There's no way I'm going down to Mospros for anyone who is less attractive than my own armpit.
You're not going to hang all of us out to dry just because for some reason she doesn't hit your G-spot.
Sir, they are proud people and they will not change their mind unless you are prepared to stay here and marry.
That's a name.
However, Cat, of all people, comes up with a compromise of sorts.
We do the trade. You go through with the wedding. When everybody's asleep, we come back and rescue you. What do you say?
Go Cat.
Hey, don't be strangers, guys. See you soon. Drop in anytime. Anytime.
Here's an actual fun fact. Lister's bride was played by this guy.
There were no tongues, which is a shame because I think she would have liked that.
I don't know who he is, but he's adorable. He is.
You like me, you know.
Also, apparently, Robert Llewellyn ad-libbed this amazing handshake.
So stupid.
But once again, Lister isn't having any of that.
Changing plan, Leggett. That's one of my favorite bits right there.
God, I hate seeing no one hyphenated. It's not technically bad grammar, but it just looks wrong to me. Urgh. Anyway. So, of course, the Emo Hawk is sent after the crew.
Where'd it go?
Hi, Jay.
Transmuted into something else. It's a stick.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I know one of them was Ainsley Harriet.
It disguises itself as...
I don't remember if I mention it at the end of this video, or I might save it for when Ainsley Harriet shows up, you know, in Can't Smeg, Won't Smeg.
a stick.
Where is it now?
Welcome back, photo
and then
finish.
Lister's hat. And then sneaks onto Starbug.
Crisis? I'm on my way, sir.
While Kriters and Lister are installing the OG unit, Cat is still smelling the Emo Hawk, but figures he just needs to wash his hands. And he finds the Emo Hawk the hard way.
Good shot of Cat's eye makeup
So
there.
the Emo Hawk devours Cat's coolness and style. Didn't know those were emotions. Which
Yeah,
just
yeah.
leaves...
This fucking
It's
episode.
Dwayne Dipley, the Duke of Dork.
Rimmer picks up a gun, but Cat doesn't recognize it.
The Emo Hawk's the gun.
Yeah, paranoia fuel is in full effect here.
I hope you're right, because if you're not, we just flushed away our only gun.
The cat was right. We had brought the Emo Hawk on board. But lucky for you guys, old Iron Butt was around to sort it out.
Old
Look
Iron
how
Butt.
smug Rimmer is being. You know he's going to be next.
Removing my bitterness, taking my negativity, slurping out all my snidiness.
Again,
Dwayne Dibley and Ace
not
Rimmer.
really emotions.
The fan service is also in full effect.
Yeah.
By the way, this is just one of those episodes where the behind-the-scenes stuff is really fun. Craig Charles said that they had to reshoot the shot where Ace is first revealed because the audience went a little too nuts the first time.
It's like one of those American sitcoms, you know, where you enter the set.
Like one of those American
round of applause
sitcoms.
for 5 minutes and you've got to stand there like that before you say your line.
I didn't realize that was specifically an American thing. Now that he mentions it, it is definitely a thing, though. And it didn't start with Seinfeld, either.
Wow, the honeymooners.
Good times.
What a guy.
So anyway...
Just gotta change these clothes. If I don't get into some sideways iron flares and transparent...
I know, rule of funny.
I swear I'll go crazy.
Actually, that's similar to what Kat said at the end of Polymorph.
If I don't get into some coordinated evening wear, I'm gonna have to resign my post as most handsome guy in the ship.
Do what you have to, old chum. I'll go tell him we're having a party.
Anyway, Ace is planning on opening the airlock to suck everything out and sacrificing himself and Kat so that Lister and Crichton will be okay.
But you're the last human being alive, old love. And frankly, you're just far too damn valuable to risk.
You realize Kat is probably the last of his kind too, right?
He won't. Yeah. I'll snap his neck when he's not looking. Fellas, smoke me a kibba. I'll be back for breakfast. Ready, old chum?
What a guy.
Dwayne Dibley clearly has no idea what's going on.
And one triple thick condom. You never know.
I think you'll find it a little more comfortable if you
That's
stand
pretty
in front of me.
funny.
Yeah, this is kind of disturbing. I'd like to think the real Ace wouldn't do this.
Just relax, old chum. I'm sending you on ahead.
Fortunately, Lister and Crichton make it just in time. So now they're all going after the Emo Hawk and Lister has a way to
Hologram.
freeze it.
It's the barrel! Sorry, false alarm. The chain, it's moving! Sorry.
Really, the paranoia is their worst enemy right now.
It's essential at this time that we... It's the wall!
It's the wall.
Got my thermos.
But Dwayne Dibley finds it.
I got it. Turned into a grenade. But I got it. Smoke me a Tikka, I'll be...
What a guy. Rimmer would like to remain the way he is for a little longer.
And you, Cat, would you like to stay as Dwayne?
Suck my thermos.
Cat, not so much.
You never know when the next clutchy thing's going...
And so ends Emo Hawk, Polymorph II. Let's not kid ourselves, this episode is total fan service. That's not a bad thing, though. I'm actually kind of impressed that they managed to bring back Dwayne Dibley, Ace Rimmer, and the Polymorph all in the same episode. And it's just really fun. Besides, we were introduced to the Kinatawawi Gelfs, who were interesting. Also, they have not forgotten what Lister did, and they will return. And I guess that's about all I have to say about this one. It works great as a comedy, but isn't exactly multi-layered or anything, so there isn't that much to talk about. Not to mention that Gunmen of the Apocalypse is a tough act to follow, but it's generally a good, solid episode. Next up is Rimmerworld, which is just about as fucked up as it sounds. See you then.
Would it harm you to have hair like mine?
I have got hair like yours. Just not on my head.
Oh, it's such a good one. There we go. Oh, right, Rimmerworld is next. Alright, let me get caught up on the... Let me try to get caught up on the chat. I have to go to the bathroom at some point. Disney Channel always uses awkward laugh tracks on their sitcoms and parts with no jokes whatsoever. Yikes. I've never seen any of those. Did Red Dwarf reference Jack the Ripper? Surprised there isn't a Jack the Ripper episode. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they didn't. Yeah, I would have remembered that. Stand on the grassy knoll and shout, "Duck!" That's interesting how they've referenced that 3 times throughout this series, that whole... Lister pretending to scramble is me every morning. Yeah, same. That's me when my alarm goes off. Early Red Dwarf's dialogue can sometimes be collar-pulling awkward. Yeah. I want a Red Dwarf Gelf dictionary. My favorite gag, what is it coming out? Sometime in season 7 where Crichton starts like, you think he's speaking Gelf, but it turns out he actually sat on something. That just like, that gag just cracked me up. This is one of the lesser episodes, but I still enjoy it just because I love shapeshifters in fiction, i.e. the Thing, the T-1000 scrolls, etc. Yeah, shapeshifters are interesting. Pretty much every idea I've ever had for a comic book had shapeshifting in it. Yeah, Saintsley Harriet was one of the Gelfs. Then Mr. Lister and the cat will choke to death, a plan with no drawbacks. Oh, hi, Birdie. Excuse me. In Russia, baked beans eat you? Oh, I get what you're saying. I hadn't heard the Soviet Russia joke in a while. Also, I'm used to hearing it as Soviet Russia. Soviet Russia, baked beans eat you. Your coolness. Wanted to mention something about Ace in a bit. Just realized Kat's jacket looks like it was made out of a Union Jack the Ginger Spices dress. Let me try to look that up. Oh, you're saying it looks like the UK flag. Okay. Yeah, it does a little bit. Also, that bowl cut on Cat looks absolutely hideous. That is truly the worst possible thing. Ace Rimmer appearance equals Ross and Rachel kiss levels of applause. Yeah, pretty much. I remember that happening in Married with Children. The actor stood there for a second so the... Oops. Reloaded. So the cheers can die down. I feel like... Did they maybe edit out some of the applause because there was so much? I think I remember something about that in the video that, what's his name, Jose did on Married with Children. Apparently the scene in the original Polymorph where Crichton had to get Lister's boxers off had the audience laughing for like 20 minutes. I think I remember hearing that. This was great, but Back to Reality was funnier because of Kat's utter disgust and horror being Dwayne. Yeah, that was... Yeah, that's the thing about Dwayne Dibley. He worked best the very first time, and after that it was just like it got a little bit less funny each time. At least for me, apparently not to the audience. It's the wall. It's the camera in front of us for some reason. I immediately recalled Ace jumping on the grenade when I saw Black Panther doing it. I don't remember him doing that unless it was in the new movie that I haven't seen yet, so I hope that's not a spoiler. They couldn't find the original Ace Rimmer wig for the episode, still better than the wig Kate Mara had to wear on Fant Four Sticks reshoots. Yeah, I remember the bit about the Ace Rimmer wig. There's a theory that someone actually stole it. Did you know the Transformers IDW comics based Thunder Clash's personality off of Ace Rimmer? I've never heard of that character, but the idea of an Ace Rimmer-like character sounds fun. What are cuter, Tribbles or Parasprites? Oh, good question. Well, Tribbles don't have faces, so I guess Parasprites? The fact that Parasprites are bugs makes them a little bit gross to me, though. Also, I can't think of Parasprites without thinking of the scene in Cupcakes that talks about someone being force-fed a live Parasprite. Dina says Rimmerworld is next in the video. Also, Dina says, oh, Rimmerworld's next in the stream. Yeah, well, I mean, I don't retain every single thing I hear. I'm kind of multitasking here. There was Jack the Ripper on Babylon 5. That's funny. I never watched Babylon 5, but the idea of a Star Trek-like show having a Jack the Ripper episode is funny to me. Rimsy Whimsy, my bestest ever pal. That sounds familiar. I don't remember what episode that's from. I think it's from an episode anyway. Sounds like the commenter who loves shapeshifters would love My Little Pony's changelings. You guys aren't going to shut up about My Little Pony until I watch those videos, are you? Oh yeah, there was also Ditto. I remember that episode of TNG when Wesley fell in love with that young girl who turned out to be a shapeshifter at the end. I really wanted her to turn into the Camille Blob. I think you said that last week, but yeah. Hi, Lizard Cryan? I'll just say Lizard. I'm good, how are you? I must ask Dina, have you seen The Land Before Time? I saw it when it would like first came out on VHS or something. I haven't really seen it since. I don't think it really lived up to the hype for me, but maybe it's only because I watched it once. Never watched any of the sequels, I don't think. Now Dwayne Dibley just has to meet up with Spike and Big Mac, and they can introduce him to ogres and oubliettes. Oh, aka My Little Pony's Dungeons and Dragons. Season 8, Dwayne Dibley was the worst offender. Oh yeah, that missed the mark so bad. I didn't mind so much them all having to dress up as Dwayne Dibley. I thought that was a cute bit of fan service, but I hated how it was Kat's idea. God, I'm gonna start ignoring the My Little Pony things, or at least most of them. Just remember there's a new UK comedy show called Extraordinary that has a Red Dwarf cat-esque character. Strongly recommend. I'll keep that in mind. Extraordinary. Red Dwarf, the canceled video game. It did almost have a game. Alright, don't repeat. I get the joke you're making, Random Squad, but please don't post the same message over and over. Spam is spam. In the show Angel, there's a main character who gets turned into a puppet. Of course. I know about Angel. That was a good one. I actually referenced that in my Child's Play film den. Just randomly bring up cupcakes. We're talking about spare sprites. What an Autobot. In the show Grimm, Jack the Ripper was this alien ghost thing. I love it when they do random shit like that with Jack the Ripper. We shan't stop speaking of My Little Pony till who knows how long, yeah. Most likely. Oh, it's Kyrie, so the ends are silent. That's interesting. Okay, Hershey, thanks for stopping by. That Dwayne Dibley joke in Series 8 would have been fixed if it wasn't Kat's idea and he was reluctant about it. Yeah, like I said, I thought it was a cute bit of fan service having them all dress up like him. It being Kat's idea was what kind of ruined it. I watched all the Land Before Time movies, but it was long ago. It feels so vague and foggy. Cue sad meme music because Dina... I only ever watched the first Land Before Time film. It was enough, yeah. What is that episode where Lister was in a box as a baby? I can't remember. Oh, that was Ouroboros. Oh, hi, Francie. Didn't realize you were a new commenter right away. I'm gonna go to the bathroom really quick and then I'll come back, and hopefully, if there's not too much chat to read, we'll get started on Rimmerworld. Okay, I just thought of a funny name for the donation thing. Where is it? I guess, what date did I have? Okay. Does that show up all right? Oh, you probably can't see it because it's white. Hang on. What am I doing? How do you... I don't know if there's a way to really... Oh, fuck. Oh, never mind. Let me start over with this fucking thing. I fucked up on the number. The default goal amount is 100, and I accidentally typed the 500 after the 100, so it said like 100,500,000, whatever. On the preview screen, it looks messed up, but I don't... I think hopefully it looks okay on the... It's hard to see, though, because it's kind of a light background. Here, wait. There we go. It says, help keep me from getting my little fummies crushed. I think the text is overlapping, though. Whatever, fuck it. Yeah, someone else should have suggested it and Kat should have protested. I mean, he wore his earlier disguise under his normal outfit. Yeah. Like he wouldn't take off his jacket, but he's okay with being Dwayne Dibley. Or Rob or Ross. Pony protest. Tina's gone post ponies. Legend has it that Dina's still trying to find Sweet Apple Massacre for research purposes. Yeah, I didn't mind too much that I couldn't find it. I'm pretty sure I said something to that effect on the video. I'm curious, have you ever watched Doctor Who or Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? No on the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I've just never watched that. I've seen maybe 3 episodes of Doctor Who, and I thought they were pretty good, but the main thing keeping me from watching Doctor Who is that they change the whole cast every season, and I don't like that. I don't like that idea. I get too attached to characters. Aaron or Ross. Who was best elderly pony? The only one I can think of is Granny Smith. I'm sure there was others, but... Hi, Digital Indra. Hi, Adam. Here's something that might pique your interest about My Little Pony. John Delancey, Q's actor in Star Trek, plays Discord, who's basically Q as a My Little Pony character. Yeah, that's fun. Honestly, with me, I would say Granny Smith or eh. Save Dina's little fumbies. I think, actually, that would work better. Here we go. I'm gonna do this one more fucking time. Here we go. I'll put... I'm just guessing on the ending date. I don't care anymore. There we go. Save me little fumbies. That's much shorter and sweeter than what I had. Thank you for that, Special Iron. Honestly, with me, I would say Granny... Oh, more about Granny Smith, whatever. Oh, I got bit behind. There we go. Yeah. Save Dina's little fumbies. Hi, Zerat. There's a game called Signalis. It's probably one of the best survival horrors I've played. Think of Silent Hill and Blade Runner mixed with the first Alien movie. That sounds interesting. Hi, Jackie. Oh, how did you like Megan? I liked it. I didn't think it was great, but I thought it was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to the sequel. Hopefully they'll do more interesting things with her. I love Doctor Who, but I was so surprised when 9 became 10 because I didn't know that about Doctor Who before it came back. I remember watching Q Who welcome Picard to Shuttlecraft 6. Oh Smeg indeed, matey. Oh my god. You be saving those fumbies. They're fummies. Not quite as awesome as when I suggested Sheba playing Beat Saber, but if I can inspire you in any way, I'll take it. That was fun. What introduced me to Doctor Who were the Daleks. Yeah, those are interesting. Soul is the one with the hammer? Oh, glad to hear you liked Megan. Tara Strong was a great actress for Twilight Sparkle. She was. Too bad she's turned into a not so great person. David Tennant is always the fan favorite. Yeah, I have heard that. It's okay that you didn't remember Sheba's name. I'm impressed you remember their names as well as you do. The fummy crushing hammer. Oh, that, okay, that hammer. I see, duh. Tara Strong has gotten into promoting NFTs and what else did she do? Oh, I think she's also a COVID denier. Oh, she's an anti-vaxxer, that's it. I'm Thor, next year I will be Thive. Oh my god, I hate it. Yeah, it does suck. I hate finding out. Never meet your heroes, except with Twitter. It's kind of hard not to. Okay, Rimmerworld.
Unfortunately, I have had to allow for the fact that you cheated at your eye tests.
Yeah, I
You
believe she
crept
is an
in here last
anti-vaxxer.
night knowing you were going to have a medical, and you copied the eye charts onto your shoes.
Wow, there's a throwback.
I'm a competitive man, Crichton. That's what makes me what I am.
We're all perfectly well aware of what you are, sir.
So anyway, Rimmer was getting a health
I hate those
evaluation.
extreme close-ups, but
And apparently the results aren't the best. Okay, so apparently Rimmer had high blood pressure due to stress when he was alive. Can't imagine why Rimmer would be stressed. And that's somehow translated into his holographic form later on.
Same old Rimmer.
I guess it's a mind over matter kind of thing. Honestly, it seems kind of dumb, but whatever. I'll just roll with it.
Just roll with it, yep.
To avoid a gigantic electronic aneurysm, it is imperative that you start on a program of relaxation.
So basically, Rimmer has to try to relax.
Oh, sorry, I'll be right back. Sorry, I forgot to eat lunch and now I'm starving. All I have are walnuts.
And Crichton has something that could help him with that.
Use these Chinese worry balls whenever you feel anxious or tense.
I don't want the others to know about this. I want you to behave as if everything's absolutely normal.
As you wish, sir.
Meanwhile, Lister has found what's left of the simulant ship that they encountered in Gunmen of the Apocalypse, and Lister wants to loot it for supplies.
Oops, I don't have water.
Unfortunately, the ship is unstable, plus there could be surviving simulants on board.
Look, we'll take our chances, man, okay?
No, Kay.
However, Starbug is out of food supplies and they're living off moss and fungi that has been scraped off of passing asteroids. Meanwhile, while simulants don't need to eat, they keep food around so they can keep their human captives alive.
In some cases, they've kept subjects alive for over 40 years in a state of perpetual agony.
If we wanted to live in a state of perpetual agony, we'd let Lister play his guitar.
Right, what's for dinner?
Tonight, sir, asteroidal lichen stew followed by dandelion sorbet.
We're going in.
Crichton thinks that Lister is being irrational, so Rimmer thinks that they should relieve him from duty and quotes a Space Corps directive.
Any officer caught sniffing the saddle of the exercise bicycle in the women's gym will be discharged without trial. Sorry, sir, that doesn't quite get to the nub of the matter for me.
That running joke is never going to get old. Anyway, Lister didn't want to say it in front of Kat, which is kind of precious. But Starbug's fuel tank got punctured at some point, so they're losing fuel and will probably run out of power in a few days. And then Rimmer has a panic attack.
Grind those balls, sir, grind them!
Why does that sound so suggestive? So basically they're most likely screwed no matter what they do, but if they board the simulant ship, there's a chance they'll get the supplies they need.
After you with the balls, sir.
Let's just pray the crew are rotting in silicon hell along with all the photocopiers.
Probably enough.
What's with a sudden prejudice against photocopiers?
One of the suckers bumps into me, he'll be lunching on later.
So they board the ship and Kat's got his bazookoid at the ready. Unfortunately, they can't actually use them on the ship since the blast could cause it to blow up.
Even a loud noise could start a ship quake. That's why I skipped chilies for breakfast.
What do we do? Whisper charge, tippy to up to them all screaming shh, and chloroform them with Lister's armpits?
Sounds like a plan to me. It turns out that there's a teleporter on the ship, which is going to come in handy. But they drop one of the crates and it causes a quake on the ship. And it turns out they're not alone.
Well, if it isn't my old friends, the human vermin.
However, they're basically at a stalemate because neither of them can shoot a weapon without blowing up the ship.
As far as psychotic, deranged, ruthless killer simulants go, you're a bit of a babe. What are you doing tonight?
Dying.
But it turns out that she doesn't care about that, so they're back to being screwed. However, Rimmer is behind her and Lister tries to get him to attack her, and he's vague enough that she thinks he's talking to her.
There is nothing for us to discuss. In 60 seconds, you'll be dead.
You can't be serious.
Meanwhile, Rimmer finds an escape pod, and I think we all know where this is going. Rimmer activating the escape pod triggers a ship quake, so the rest of them get into the teleporter.
What's this?
Except that Crichton takes them back in time.
Walnut skin stuck in my teeth, sorry.
Don't you know how rude it is to burst in on an earlier version of yourself without warning? I'm very cross.
Oops.
Well, be you later.
So now they're back on Starbug in the present time, and everyone escapes the ship just before it explodes.
All in all, 100% successful trip.
Sir, we lost Mr. Rimmer.
All in all,
Well, 100% successful trip.
So now Crichton tells them about Rimmer's stress problem.
My escape plan worked then.
So now, of course, Rimmer contacts them to gloat.
I'm sure no one's forgetting the sheer manliness and stiff upper lipidness of the diversionary part of the plan.
But it turns out that Rimmer has no control over the escape pod, and it's accelerating away from Starbug.
Rogue simulants looted the pod from a colonization seeding ship. It is programmed to take you to the nearest planet with an S3 atmosphere.
So Crichton tries to figure out how long it'll take him to get there.
You should make planetfall in 4 days.
But it involves going through a wormhole where time dilates.
Balls on standby, sir. Well, remember that
Balls on standby, sir. It sounds so dirty.
100 Years' War? Now, Now take that figure and multiply it by 6, and then you'll come up with your golden number, sir.
So they're losing contact with Rimmer since he's getting too far away.
Whatever befalls you, try and greet it with a smile on your lips and a song in your heart.
You are a total, complete, utter,
Complete, utter, total. Too much. So basically for them it'll take a couple days to reach Rimmer, but for Rimmer it will have been 600 years. So Rimmer has reached the planet, so he explores it for a bit.
The only life forms, the most basic single-celled protozoa and me. Relationships would be difficult, but not impossible.
It turns out there are rockets on the ship that are meant to accelerate growth, so he launches them. 6 days later, the whole planet goes from desert to forest.
I had created Rimmerworld. I was Adam in my own Eden, and only one thing was missing, my own Jane.
Ah yes, I remember the biblical story of Adam and Jane. Anyway, he somehow finds a way to clone a female version of himself. I'm not sure how he found his own DNA, but oh well.
Technically, she would be my sister. After much soul-searching, I reluctantly decided, what the hell, I just wouldn't tell her.
Yeah, sounds like something you would do. Awkward. So Rimmer decides to try again, and that's the last we see of him for a while. Meanwhile, back on Starbug, the rest of the crew is reaching the planet, and naturally they're detecting life signs.
Either Mr. Rimmer had the incredible good fortune to land on a populated planet, or what? It's too hideous to contemplate.
So they land and...
Halt, abomination! Rimmer! Silence, travesty! Rimmer!
Crichton's fears are confirmed.
This might sound like a bit of a corny line, but I can't even bring myself to say it. Take us to your leader. How could you?
Oh, sir, how could you? Hey, that's music from Meltdown.
Dear Lord,
Oh, yeah.
what created such foulness? Is this the product of a marriage twixt woman and gerbil? We found them in the woods, your flared nostrilness.
So it turns out that the leader is not Rimmer, at least not our Rimmer. Apparently the H is a symbol of power here, which is kind of ironic considering how much our Rimmer hates it. So notice that there are masked women here, meaning that Rimmer must have eventually cloned female versions of himself. Yeah, that's not at all disturbing. So anyway, being that everyone else on the planet is a Rimmer clone, the rest of the crew is seen as abominations, and they are being put on trial.
Are there no signs of normalcy in these wretches? No cowardice or pomposity? No snidiness or smarm?
Sir, we wish to speak to the hologram known as Rimmer.
I am he!
I love the delivery of that line. How does the audience not react to it? Anyway, they are being sentenced to death, and it'll be carried out the next morning.
Burn the bodies, then bring me the cold ashes on a silver plate, with a glass of chilled Sancerre.
This guy's an animal. Doesn't he know it's red wine with cold ashes?
So they're taken to a prison cell where the original Rimmer is being held, and he's still got those balls.
Custer! Derek Custer! Kit! Titan!
It makes sense that after 557 years he wouldn't remember their names exactly. You'd think he'd remember cats though, unless maybe he's forgotten the names of all Earth animals. Which is possible, I guess.
Thousands upon thousands of backstabbing, treacherous Judases. When they found out they couldn't damage my hard light drive, they locked me in here so I could never threaten their insane lust for power.
Rimmer really is his own worst enemy. There's basically no way for Rimmer to get out, because the second one of the others found him, they'd throw him under the bus. Because Rimmer.
The only way any society can evolve is through mutation.
Fuck, I'm so sorry. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. I was trying to use a flosser to get the piece of walnut skin from between my teeth, and I never did get it out. Whatever.
When there is no richness or variety, congenital disorders and inherited lunacy are
Hi, Say
commonplace.
Films.
So not only is it a society of rimmers, it's a society of insane rimmers.
There's gotta be a way out.
But Lister has an elaborate plan.
So that when a guard comes in, it gets laid out, and we put Rimmer in the guard's uniform, he leads us out, and fights our way back to the bug.
Or we could use the teleporter.
That works too. So they teleport back onto Starbug, this time in the future.
We're far more concerned at the moment about the quite hideous thing that's happened to Lister.
I can't decide if that was a reference to the next episode or a coincidental random gag. And so ends Rimmerworld. This episode was a lot of fun. I like the link to Gunmen of the Apocalypse, and I'm glad we got to see the female simulant again. She's awesome, but didn't get a lot of screen time in the former episode. There's also a fun gag involving how Cat wears the same outfit in both episodes. No, I didn't forget it, I'm just saving it for the next Cat video, but that's also a great moment. I love how a civilization of Rimmer clones bears a striking resemblance to ancient Rome. That says so much about him. Other than that, I love Rimmer episodes, but I've kind of run out of profound things to say about them.
Yeah.
Again, Rimmer is his own worst enemy. That's basically what they all amount to some degree. That's not a complaint, though. As I've said before, I always love that hilarious yet disturbing look into Rimmer's subconscious. He's an asshole, but a surprisingly sympathetic character at the same time. Next up is a Season 6 finale, Out of Time.
Kinda
See
like
you
Saul
then.
Goodman. Of course, there was no Saul Goodman when I made these videos, so...
But he does operate from a position of total logic and would be fools to ignore his sage counsel.
At least let me and Mr. Rimmer go in your place.
And what the smeg would you know, bogbot from hell?
Bogbot from hell. Oh, last Season 6 episode. For some reason, the name Rimmerworld makes me think of the Rimmer Experience. Yeah. Yeah, we're all aware of what you are, sir. Red Dwarf continuity is always a let's just go with it. Yep, exactly. Yeah, sometimes when I'm streaming and I get hungry, I'll eat dates and walnuts, but I ran out of dates during the mega streams last week. On the Tara Strong thing, I want to quote one of my favorite YouTubers. I just want to go 5 minutes without being fucked by reality. Is that too much to ask? Yeah. That was my reaction to Justin Roiland. Also, I expect some things like heart attacks could make Rimmer's drive overload or sap power like the holovirus did to Dr. Landstrom. I guess that makes sense. That was an important speech, sir, and it needed to be made. Might I suggest, however, that the rest of this discourse is continued by those with brains larger than a grape? That was such a good line. I love that "be you later" joke. Yeah, that is kind of cute. Good point, well made. Was there past selves from an old episode that would have been funny? I don't think so. Did I stutter? Oh, this episode is Cat as we love him best. Mercilessly gleeful when bad things happen to Rimmer, yeah. I think the microbes would consider Rimmer to be beneath them. I'm guessing Rimmer's family's Bible had more than one misprint. I like that theory. No more channel awkward? What can we do? Nothing. I know for a fact there's no champagne. I don't want to think about how bad the inbreeding would be. About the constant references to Lister with gerbil cheeks, I remember the novel describing his face as podgy, built for a perpetual smile. That suits him. And he's still got those balls, Dina, whenever this video came out. We all know that most eunuchs have more balls than Rimmer. I love the reaction of Crichton when he gets called Titan. I didn't notice his reaction, or at least I don't remember it. I like how the worry balls got smaller. I never noticed that. I know, that's a cute detail. I remember Robert Llewellyn saying that he didn't get the joke at first. The just used the teleporter gag is one of the biggest laugh out loud moments for me. Yeah, that is a good one. Is this the interruption stream? It seems that way. I trust the whole planet full of Rimmers not to think to remove it from them. Reminds me of when it took me a week to get this piece of meat out of my back teeth. Oh god, yeah, that's awful. Popcorn is the worst. Insane Rimmer sounds redundant. Apparently the episode was supposed to end with Lister himself walking in asking what just happened, and they were winding past Lister up. Oh. Rimmer has a nice butt. I know, right? Star Trek Kirk, do we have the right to undo Rimmerworld? Future zap blasted from orbit gif. That moment when Crichton did the Gelf language was just hilarious, yeah. Dina reacting to what episode? Yeah. It's like an audio delay. Oh, thank you, Special Iron. Crichton's not that hard to do, really. Sometimes I think my modem's gonna end up in Silicon Hell. This planet is full of Rimmers. How can you just sit there and eat pizza? That's a good one. Alright, let's watch Out of Time, and I might stop there, but maybe not. We'll see.
Gentlemen, thank you for attending the meeting.
It turns out that they
A
lost
router.
all trace
I was
of
like,
Red
oh, wow,
Dwarf
you still have a
whenever this
modem?
was kind of down, so
I decided, if it's all right with you, to appoint myself morale officer.
So he recommends having a weekly meeting where they get whatever they need to off their chests.
Why don't I start? You know what it is about Lister that really makes me want to puke? Everything, that's what. And as for the cat, what an unbelievable git. And Crichton, if he doesn't change pronto, I swear I'll attach jump leads to his nipple nuts and fry him like a Cajun catfish.
Yeah, that went about as well as expected.
See you at next week's morale meeting. Marvelous.
So yeah, Rimmer is tense because their situation is so bleak.
Take Christmas. What did we do Christmas Day?
Christmas Day, we were attacked by that pan-dimensional liquid beast from the Magadon cluster.
Come to think of it, in all these years, there's never been a Christmas episode. I would watch a very smeggy Christmas.
Very smeggy Christmas.
So they end up flying into some fog, and there's an explosion which knocks out Lister. But when Crichton tries to see to one of his injuries, it seems that Lister has been an android all this time.
I'm sorry, I'm not buying this. And what's his mission? To rid the universe of Chicken Vindaloo?
If he wasn't human, I'd have known by his scent.
Rimmer and Kat make good points. Also, earlier in this very season, we saw Lister get his appendix taken out. So Crichton's being kind of dumb right now. But everyone assumes he's right.
You think he knows? He probably
Yeah, it's a little
reprogrammed
weird,
his
but
own
whatever.
memory to escape detection. Do you remember who your parents were?
No, you know I don't. It was found under the pool table in a box.
That's gonna come up again next season.
It's just that while you were under, we discovered something rather disturbing about you.
It's that tattoo on my inner thigh, isn't it? Look, I don't really love Peterson. He just got me so drunk I didn't know what I was doing.
Oh wow, we haven't had one of these since season 3.
He has an I
Also,
Love
the fact
Peterson tattoo on his inner thigh. I'm probably about to say that.
He apparently got I Heart Peterson tattooed on his inner thigh while drunk. So
There
Crichton
you
breaks
go.
the news, and naturally he's really gentle about it.
Technically subordinate to me.
What does this all mean?
Well, in broad terms, I get the front seat in the cockpit, and you're in charge of the laundry.
Lister also believes Crichton. I guess he's not fully alert yet. And Crichton is really butthurt about this.
Now I find you're no better than I. For 4 long years, I had to hand scrub the gussets of your long johns.
A little while later, there's a jolt, but they don't know what caused it.
You call those triangular sandwiches? Did you use a set square? I think not. And the chocolate finger display is laughable. Make them into an attractive, interlaced log cabin structure or something.
Then Crichton finds out that the fog they're in basically creates
It's an interesting tattoo. Are you bi,
meant to scare
sir?
people off.
Making us believe Mr. Lister was... Oh my.
And there's the payoff.
You mean he's not a...
No.
No shit, Crichton.
What do you think of the picket fence?
Go Lister? And of course that damage on his arm looks normal again.
Someone else tell him. I've got gussets to scrub.
The scanners are out, and my smell range is practically 0.
I love that Kat can't smell through the fog. Anyway, Rimmer wants to back
Hi,
out
Neon
of the fog,
Tetra.
but Lister thinks that they're small enough to avoid the unreality bubbles. This show is weird. Just then they hit one. In this reality, apparently Kat doesn't exist for anyone else.
Can't you see me? Can't you feel me?
We're getting some buffeting.
But they barely get out of that one before hitting another one.
All we gotta do is keep our heads.
And another. Gotta love that green screen effect.
All ahead, stop.
They've had just about all they can take at this point, and it'll take 3 days to get to the other side. So Crichton puts everyone in deep sleep until they get there. So it turns out the fog and unreality bubbles were protecting a derelict ship that had a drive with time travel capabilities.
And generated the minefield to prevent the machine from falling into the wrong hands.
So naturally they steal it.
Choose a year.
And they test it out by attempting to go to the year 1421.
Engaging the time drive.
But of course they're in deep space, so yeah, good job.
Fun though it was drinking in the heady medieval atmosphere of pre-Renaissance deep space, the drive is next to useless, yes?
Should we ever acquire a faster-than-light drive, we will have the combination to travel anywhere and any when.
So shortly afterwards, they detect a duplicate of Starbug from the future. It tries to make contact, but Crichton thinks that it'd be a bad idea to make contact with their future selves.
What if we discovered that one of us is dead? Who could handle that?
We all could if it was you.
But in case they need help,
He's so
Crichton will meet
mean.
with them alone and then erase his memory of the event. Except Crichton blows it by talking to them before erasing his memory.
Mr. Lister, sir, I love you. I'd hate you to go anywhere not knowing that, sir.
And he can't completely keep his mouth shut.
What a senseless waste!
So the whole thing was pretty moot. The other crew is from 15 years in the future, and they need to see the calibration settings on their time drive, and that's all that he can tell them.
You must be sealed in the upper deck before they set a space boot on board.
Way to not give away anything about the future, Criters. You're doing a great job.
That's so funny.
So naturally, Lister thinks he's going to die, but Crichton reluctantly reveals that he is still part of the future crew.
Are you saying I survive?
I can say no more. Please, let us not squabble on this of all days.
So of course Lister is just
This
really
of all
confused now
days.
and has to find out what happened to him. So he patches into the security camera so he can find out what's going on. Hoping maybe if I eat more walnuts, it'll
So, Rimmer
dislodge
didn't age a day
the
during the 500
walnut
plus
skin
years
from
he
my
was in a
teeth.
dungeon on Rimmerworld, but in 15 years he's suddenly an old man. Okay.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Depressing little hole. Used to the good things in life now, but
I'll pretend I didn't see that. Meanwhile, future Crichton talks like Dana Carvey's impression of Tom Brokaw.
Frankly, I can't afford going around looking like I've swapped heads with a damaged crash dummy.
Gerald Ford dead today at the age of 83.
And here's
83.
Lister. I guess this is poetic justice because he once made a joke about someone being just a brain in a jar.
My uncle's brains in a jar. It's really sad. Why is it sad? He's not dead yet.
You've hardly changed at all. If I hadn't been told about the accident, I don't think I'd even have noticed.
Also notice the dreads tied to the top.
Yo, we're in.
So Lister gets a good look at
The
everyone
dreads.
else, and of course he thinks it's hilarious.
You're 2 meals away from being a sumo wrestler. What do I look like? I can't actually see quite clearly. The light is reflecting off the top of your head.
And then he sees himself, which Rimmer finds hilarious.
oh dear.
What? Is he fat?
He's lost a bit of weight.
Meanwhile, the
He's
future
lost a
crew
bit
has
of weight,
become
actually.
picky eaters.
Crichton, we're epicures now. We travel through history, enjoying the very best time has to offer.
It turns out they've gone back and forth through time and befriended certain historical figures.
Why, only last week Louis XVI threw a banquet especially in our honor.
I think they're our favorite hosts, if you don't count the Hitlers.
Yikes.
Provided you
Wow.
avoid talking politics, they're an absolute hoot.
Also, this is weirdly topical. That's all I'm going to say about that.
And enjoy the odd game of mixed doubles with the Goerings.
We travel back and forth throughout the whole of history. The finest things tend to be in the possession of people who are judged to be a bit dodgy.
Herman Goering is a bit dodgy.
You tell him, Kreiter.
That's so
Recognize
funny.
Any of you. You're just amoral, self-serving scum, freeloading your way through history.
So the rest of the present crew has heard enough.
You got 2 minutes to get off this ship. I don't know how we became you, but I sure as hell don't intend to help you carry on doing what you're doing.
Lister kicks them off the ship without giving them what they need.
20 seconds into the airlock and git.
Now that the future crew is stranded in space, they decide to attack
God, I think it
President
actually
Starbug.
worked.
But if you kill us, you'll cease to exist.
Better that than be forced to live like you.
So the present crew has to choose between giving up the data or trying to fight back and probably get themselves killed.
Then I say fight.
Mr. Rimmer,
Better dead than sneg.
better dead than sofa-sized butt.
Better anything than that toupee.
They're so badass. As I said in an earlier video, they've done pretty well for themselves in Season 6, with escaping Legion and destroying the simulant ship, so no reason they won't get through this one too, right?
Lock on! Fire!
Right?
Except,
No.
Is he okay? He's dead, sir.
things take a surprisingly dark turn. Kitty, no!
Kitty, no.
Dead. But there may be a...
And now it's just Rimmer.
There may be a what? A way out of this? Is that what you were going to say? Speak, Crichton. How can we change what's happening?
But he's still not giving up. He grabs a bazookoid, aims at the time
The
drive,
outtake for
and
that was great, which I'll get to.
so ends Season 6. Yeah, Season
Nope, it
6
didn't
really
work.
went out with a bang. Seriously, no pun intended. Due to them losing Red Dwarf and the unreality pockets and the time drive, there is a lot packed into this episode. Also, the crew gets to see their future selves, and it's not pretty. And not just visually, they have become so gluttonous that they've just thrown all morality out the window in favor of it. That said, I'm really tickled by how the crew is depicted 15 years in the future, since now we can look back and see what the crew really looked like 15 years later, and it's a pretty far cry from that. Hell, 26 years later, and they still look better than they do here. 15 years isn't really that long. Why do they look so old? I have a feeling that it's either A, rule of funny, having the crew react to seeing themselves all old and fat and bald is a lot funnier than how they'd react to just looking maybe slightly older. They could also be going for being ugly on the inside results in you looking ugly
Oh, I
on
finally
the
got it out.
outside
Oh
kind
my
of
God.
feeling with it. So obviously the creators were trying something different here. With every season of Red Dwarf, it was always a crapshoot whether or not there would ever be any more. So they intentionally ended this on a cliffhanger to see if that would help the odds. And it did. Spoiler, they pulled the same trick with the next 2 seasons. What a cliffhanger it was. This is one of very few instances where death is played straight on this show. Lister and Kat got picked off too quickly for the rest of the crew to really react, but you can definitely feel the weight of the moment. Not to mention the rare moment of badassness from Rimmer of all people. By the way, there's a hilarious outtake that goes with this scene that I didn't show earlier because I didn't want to ruin the moment.
There it goes. And now I'm done with season
That's
6,
so
and
funny.
I'm a little bit sad. It's hard to pick a favorite season from this show since they all have their pros and cons. But season 6 might be my favorite, if only because I liked that the creators weren't afraid to let the crew actually grow a little, show that they can be capable and have some moments in the sun. As much as they had to struggle, I think being away from Red Dwarf was really good for them in a way.
Cat looks
They
really
adapted,
pretty
and
in
now
season
they're
6
stronger
too.
for it. Next up is a season 7 opener, Tikka to Ride. See you then.
Actually, it's Tikka, not Tikka. Ugh. Fucking comments.
This is gonna crack him up. Devastate him. Who's gonna tell him?
I'll write you into my will if you let it be me.
I wonder when I start shortening the opening. All right, we'll watch Tikka to Ride, and then that'll be it. It'd be nice to end finish at the end of a season for a change, but that never seems to happen. Rimmer as moral officer would be fired in one day. Yeah. I love how specific that thread about Crichton's nipple nuts was. Yeah. Bring us some smeggy pudding. Ew. Crichton also came from a box. Yeah, true. I actually feel sorry for Crichton when Lister displays the chocolate finger log cabin. Yeah. Cat's jacket looks almost like his jacket from Emo Hawk, except it's red and blue checks instead of stripes. I guess it is about the same color scheme, isn't it? I have never actually watched Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy or read it. It would have been funnier if Lister had gotten a squirrel head. Yeah. I fall asleep to these Red Dwarf videos all the time. That's cool. I fall asleep to the TV, so I know how that is. I love Lister's reaction when he looks through the scope and sees Rimmer. Oh dear. Yeah, that's great. Or Lister, rather, but yeah. His favorite bowl, his little cup, the tin opener he used to pick his ears clean. I have the same issue with popcorn. Yeah, I was saying earlier, popcorn is the worst for that. I don't know if I've ever had walnut skin stuck in my teeth before, but man, it was bitch trying to get that out. Sorry for picking my teeth on stream. I wouldn't normally do that, but it was driving me fucking crazy. I tried to go in the bathroom and use a flosser, but it didn't work. And my plan was to try to ignore it for the rest of the stream, but I just couldn't. He lost some weight, actually. Rimmer's enjoying himself way too much, yeah. Thank goodness the cast have aged more gracefully in real life. Yeah, it'd be weird watching Red Dwarf if they actually looked the way they do here. Ashley's lost quite a bit of everything. Was that a line? I didn't remember that. I always like it when a character... When in fiction a character gets reduced to a head or a brain in a jar and someone says, well, they lost a lot of weight. I didn't know that was a common thing, but I could see that, yeah. How that would be a common joke in that situation. I love how the present crew's morals come to the fore at the end of this episode. Yeah, it's pretty cool. This was best Rimmer, yep. I think this is about the point where Rimmer does something badass like once per episode.
Or once per season, I mean. Sorry, not per episode. That would ruin his character. I feel this is a series where they're closest to each other, well, as close as they can be anyway. Yeah. Yeah, I think I agree with that. I used to think this was Rimmer's crowning moment of badass until the end of season 10. Yeah, it's pretty badass at the end of season 8, too. Or, wait. No, season 7 is what I'm thinking of. Actually, no, it's early season 7. Never mind. Don't listen to me. I'm being stupid. Things got hardcore, I know, right? Hermann Goering is a bit dodgy. Dina finally found the elusive walnut shell. I know. It was the skin, actually. But yeah. It's always a relief when you finally get that elusive bit of food from it between your teeth. Yeah. By the way, I maybe should have brought this up with Mr. Guitar, but Robert Llewellyn also flubs his lines. He does, doesn't he? Must be sign of the rubber mask, possibly. I can imagine, like, being that uncomfortable would be kind of, you know, distracting. Actually, it's pronounced Gunmen. Season 10 is when you show. Oh, season 10 was when it started that? Okay. Oh, it's a little later along than I thought. I know it was post season 3 of My Little Pony, because that series of videos ended before I got around to changing the openings. Shortening them, whatever. Tikka to Ride, the episode where I tape traded with a guy in England who had PAL and NTSC VCRs where I recorded a season of Friends, and he sent me Series 7. Oh, that's interesting. Remember when Neelix in Voyager elected himself morale officer? I'd love to see him start by insulting the bridge crew. Series 7, the divisive series. Also the series that tried to feel like a movie. Yeah. Yeah, it's hit or miss. It's very hit or miss. There are some episodes I think are great, and there are some that are, like, maybe not awful, but not good, at least. The outtakes were always funny, especially the Series 3 smeg-ups. Don't watch the Hitchhiker's Guide movie. I think I've heard that it's bad. I thought I remembered it being also a TV series. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. Yeah, Rimmer's full line is far from it. He's lost quite a bit of weight, actually. Actually, he's lost a bit of everything. It's been a little while since I saw the whole episode. Is it just me, or does anyone else want to see their lunches with all the different Hitlers? Oh, that'd be awkward. Oh, that's true. Only the Good Die Young was a good bit. That was pretty badass, actually. There you go. I don't think it's the thing I was thinking of, but yeah, he does do something badass at the end of Series 8. Crichton's crying out loud made me laugh so much. Oh, yeah, in this episode, yeah. It's the two guys having to use fake accents that flub the most, it seems. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I could see that. Now that I think of it, Crichton's makeup reminds me of the Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz. A lot safer for the actor, mind you. Yeah. Ouroboros was the start of the decline in quality. I'll have to see it again. I liked Hitchhiker's Guide movie, but I don't have good taste, so... I kind of know the feeling. I like some things that other people hate. Or at the very least, I don't hate them as much. Oh yeah, I remember that Jack Haley wasn't the original actor to play the Tin Man, but the first actor had an allergic reaction to the silver paint. Yeah. And they replaced the actor, and then they also ended up changing the paint. So... Yeah, there was a TV series of Hitchhikers before Red Dwarf, so the effects are pretty bad. Ah, okay, so I wasn't totally remembering wrong. Yeah, guilty pleasures, I guess you could say. It's not always guilty, though. Sometimes I think I'm just less picky than other people are. Which isn't any kind of a flex. I'm just saying difference of opinion. I want a dramatization of the making of Wizard of Oz. There's so much potential. Yeah, that would be interesting. The original makeup was made of aluminum powder and it almost suffocated the original actor to death. In the movie, it's an aluminum paste, but the actor still got a nasty eye infection. Ah, I didn't remember that. Again, Crichton's wailing must have been based on Stan Laurel. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I could see that. You would think the asbestos snow was worse. Oh, God. Alright, let's watch Tikka to Ride.
Welcome to Red Dwarf Season 7. And if there was ever a single scene to represent the tone of this show, that would be it. That said, Season 7 has a slightly different tone than the rest of the series overall, and for this reason, they chose not to film in front of a live audience. I'll get into the reasons for that at the end, but they did play the finished product to an audience to get the responses. But in some episodes, the laughter drowned out the dialogue, so on the DVD version, some episodes have a laugh track and some don't. I just wanted to warn you in case you didn't know, since it can be a bit jarring.
Ship's log, 1.
We open on another scene that came from Red Dwarf USA, where Lister is trying to start a video journal. He gets to what happened in the previous season and tries to explain that their future selves destroyed Starbug, including the time drive.
By killing us, they killed themselves, because once we were dead, it was impossible for us to become them in the future and return in time to kill ourselves in the past, even though it was the present.
But the camera can't handle the paradox, because that's how that works.
That's the third camera this week. The machines just can't take it.
So
Third
Lister
camera
starts
this
over and
week.
just does a regular SOS type message this time.
Just must have sorted Ready Moon a couple of days ago. Coordinates enclosed. It's about that shape. Can't miss it.
It's
But
about that
sadly,
shape.
there have been casualties.
The laser cannon breached the main water tank and flooded supply deck B.
Oh no, I've gone cross-eyed.
Carriers, all the Indian food supplies have been totaled.
Oh my god, what's Lister gonna do?
I'll have salads.
Sir, you're in shock. You don't know what you're saying.
It's mostly played for laughs, but in a way, Lister's obsession with curry and lager makes him feel normal.
Sir, there is nothing unmanly in howling like a hungry prairie dog.
It's a link to the life he had before the events of this series. It's a form of escapism.
We always make time for curry night. Every Friday. Saturday. Sunday. Tuesday. Wednesday.
Thursday.
So, however unhealthy it may be, he kind of needs it in a way.
Perhaps you could learn to love pasta.
Pasta. You sick?
Either way, of course, Rimmer and Kat
Crichton's
are gonna
expressions
give
were
shit
great
about it.
there.
As a mark of respect, we thought on Sunday at 12 o'clock we could have a minute's flatulence.
Fun fact, though, the altercation with their future selves somehow resulted in an anomaly, where they gained 212% more room in the cargo bay.
We should ascertain that the new structures are stable.
So Kat suggests that they could go and get the time drive if they wanted, but Rimmer thinks they should avoid time travel at all costs.
It's the only way of breaking our destiny line and ensuring we don't end up like our future selves.
Lister thinks they could do it if they're careful.
And do what?
Go back in time to an Indian takeaway and order 500 curries.
But yeah, he just wants curry.
We can't afford to take any
It's
more
all about the
chances.
curry.
I say the time drive stays where it is.
But they managed to convince him. By the way, check out the sets for this one. That looks really impressive for this show. So now that they're done investigating
It does look
Starbug
really
and
cool.
they haven't found anything wrong with it, Crichton wants to shut himself down for a couple of hours so he can discard some old files.
This cleanup thing, how does it work exactly?
But Lister is suddenly very interested in how that works.
Why do you ask? Just interested. Robotics. Fascinating, isn't it?
So later, while Crichton is doing his thing,
Lister sneaks in and replaces Crichton's head with one of his spare heads.
My heavens, I'm head.
So Sparehead is all for helping Lister out, but first
I'm
Lister
head.
has to override his guilt chip and disable his behavior protocols. So Lister pops the hood and does all that.
That's cute.
No behavior protocols. Just call me badass.
Yeah, this is gonna end well. The next morning, Crichton serves an extremely decadent breakfast and... Remember this line from Polymorph?
What, so you just like stick the head whisk attachments on the end and you can like whip up a Spanish omelet? But it's amazing how few people are prepared to eat them.
Well, now we get to see him do it. And now we realize why he didn't before. Also, his groinal attachment is a little more, anatomical looking than it was before.
Yeah.
Anyway, now Crichton is suddenly agreeing to go back in time to get curry.
On reflection, I think it'd be quite safe. But sometimes you've just got to say the laws of time and space. Who gives a smeg?
He also isn't doing a very good job of hiding his lack of a guilt chip.
You bet your ass, Crichton. Can I have a word?
Yeah, there's a sight.
God.
So uptight.
And there's another one. So they get the time drive and...
We've got the Taj Mahal Tandoori restaurant behind the JMC building in London.
Suddenly they can use it to go to different locations, even though the show went out of its way in the last episode to show that they couldn't. Oh well.
Yeah, oops.
Anyway, Crichton doesn't know how to use the time drive, so they end up in Dallas, Texas in 1963, so... Yeah, way to go. So they figure out the time and place they're in, and this wonderful conversation happens.
Wasn't that place where that American king got assassinated?
JFK.
No, it was Johnson, not JFK.
Jeff K.
JFK, like the airport.
I wonder why anyone would want to name their kid after an airport.
Hi, George.
They're about to accidentally murder a guy, and it's being played for laughs.
The gunman's location was in the Texas Book Depository.
That was a great take there.
So Mr. finds this coin and insists on pulling on it, so... Yeah, they just killed Lee Harvey Oswald.
What are all those people doing gathered around that giant pizza?
As always, best face goes to Rimmer.
Look at this. I think we just pulled the gunman out of the window. Hands on heads. Were you?
The other head cat. Anyway, the cops don't know what the time drive is and assume it's a weapon, so they tell them to kick it towards them, so Crichton manages to activate it with his foot. What are you shooting at? Anyway, they end up in the same location 3 years later.
What would have saved Kennedy's life?
Is that bad?
The streets are empty except for one dead guy.
Eric White.
Looks like he was trampled to death in some kind of stampede.
Just processing.
So they're now in an alternate reality where JFK wasn't assassinated. Instead, he was impeached in 1964 for having ties with the mafia. And he was sentenced to 3 years in an open prison. So J. Edgar Hoover became president.
So America had a president controlled by the mafia?
Not gonna touch that.
The USSR were allowed to install a nuclear base in Cuba.
Or that.
With a Soviet nuclear base 30 miles from the US mainland, people fled from all the major cities.
Also, they can't go back to Starbug because it doesn't exist anymore.
Kennedy's impeachment in '64 traumatized the American nation. In this reality, it was probably the Russians who were the first to land on the moon.
So, wait, going by the logic at the beginning of the episode, shouldn't the events leading you to be here have been retconned? Oh well. I like this conversation where Kat is trying to understand if JFK was good or bad.
His affairs were legendary.
And they basically tell him that it's more complicated than that.
His Achilles heel?
Kennedy's was just higher up.
Dumb man. Well, you brought the 20th century to the very brink of extinction, sir. Gun?
So Rimmer asks Crichton how the hell this all happened.
Nope, getting too
and
political.
Lister
Get back to the
finally
light
confesses.
stuff.
I nicked Crichton's body. Let's Sparehead too. I removed this guilt chip.
And worst of all, the time drive isn't working.
Do you think it's because the subspace conduits have locked with the transponder calibrations and caused a major tachyon surge that has overloaded the time matrix?
No, sir. I've just been jabbing it too hard.
So they decide to set up camp for the night, and Rimmer sends Crichton out for food.
How can the same guy be an icon in one reality and a criminal in the next?
In one reality.
There's always time for gum.
Then the conversation about what kind of man JFK was continues. And again, it's complicated.
But somewhere along the way, just like me, he disabled his guilt chip and discarded his behavior protocols.
I mean, hardly anyone can be put neatly into a category of all good or all bad. We all have good and bad qualities, and JFK was no exception. According to this episode, anyway.
Take you, sir. In some ways, you're bright.
I am so not history buff. I don't know shit about JFK.
Irresponsible, curry-obsessed moron.
That's Lister in a nutshell. Anyway, it turns out that they haven't been eating chicken.
What is it?
It's that man we found. It's Eric.
Once again, Rimmer is glad he doesn't have to eat.
But it seemed to me that if humanoids eat chicken, then obviously they'd eat their own species.
Vegan logic.
Vegan logic.
The next you're right back up again.
On the upside, the time drive has started working again, so Lister wants to go back and fix everything.
I don't care where we go, as long as it's before we had dinner.
Aww.
Back at shortly before the JFK assassination, they get Oswald to go to a different floor so they won't accidentally kill him again.
Decorators, trap on the 6th floor.
I love this. Kat says they're decorators, but they're all just sitting there playing poker. All looking totally out of place for the time period and situation, and Crichton just shields his eyes. And yet it works.
That's so funny.
Let me just stand them by and allow the president to be killed. Not if you're Eric White, it ain't.
So Oswald's aim isn't as good on the higher floor, and he only ends up wounding JFK. But Lister has a plan B in mind.
If we could arrange somehow for a second gunman to fire from just behind that little hill over there, covered in lawn.
You mean the grassy knoll, sir?
Also this.
Stand on the grassy knoll and shout, duck.
Shoot the press? Who?
Except that none of them wants to do it. So Lister has another idea.
Just maybe there's someone who can get us out of this mess.
As Kennedy is about to be transported to jail, Lister teleports...
Sorry, I don't normally pause, but I thought this was interesting. Is it still cannibalism for Cat? He's not really human after all. It's not technically cannibalism, but I imagine it'd be kind of like how you wouldn't eat your own pets for him. Or, well, not your own pets, but like you probably wouldn't eat a cat or a dog. I wonder what the actors are reading in real life. Good question.
But I have a very strange tale to tell.
Kennedy basically reiterates what they've been saying about him all along. He thinks he did a good job as president, but that he also made some mistakes.
It was wrong, however, to act like an irresponsible jackass with all those women and allow my enemies to wreak havoc on our nation.
But Lister says he knows how to fix it.
How can you help?
Come with us back to Dallas, November 63. Be a second gunman, the gunman behind the grassy knoll.
That's brilliant.
Assassinate myself?
Yeah, it will drive the conspiracy nuts crazy, but they'll never figure it out.
But naturally, Kennedy is hesitant. He still thinks that after he gets out of jail, he can still make some kind of a contribution to the world.
Where I come from, you're a liberal icon, and that's the person you should be. But if you're going to be that person...
Oh, sorry. I was hitting this mic.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Hey, that'd make a pretty neat speech, that.
It did.
So back to the Kennedy assassination again. Future Kennedy is disguised as a cop, and the Red Dwarf crew were disguised as vagrants, except Crichton. What a surreal moment this must be for Kennedy to assassinate his past self. But he does it, and is successful.
Thank you all for giving me the opportunity to be reborn.
Smack! I forgot to ask if there are any curry houses in Dallas.
Nice mood whiplash. So 3 weeks later...
Apparently this is only in the extended version, which I didn't know when I covered this.
I guess this is Crichton's punishment for all the problems he caused, which is pretty shitty considering that none of it is his fault, but, you know, Rimmer.
I would hate to malfunction and you not get a full refund. I mean, wouldn't that just be so annoying?
Also, Crichton doesn't seem to mind, so whatever. In the meantime, it turns out that the curry wasn't destroyed in the flood after all.
I took him. At some point in the future, I must go back to the past and bring all the curry supplies to the present. Capiche?
Oh my god, enough with the time travel weirdness.
Yes!
Also, Rimmer is about to get back at Lister too, and it's amazing.
You know, I must have passed this thing 1,000,000 times. What the hell's it for?
So apparently Starbug can separate, so it does just that, leaving Lister alone with all his curry. It's been a while since we've seen the Rimmer salute, even if this is kind of a reduced version.
Just me and 3.5 tons of curry. Smeggantastic.
And so Lister starts eating curry sauce by sucking it off a napkin. How sad. And so ends Tikka to ride. According to someone in the comments section, that's actually non-bread, but I've never had that, so... Or some kind of bread.
What I was hinting at...
It does look like a napkin, though, to be fair.
At the beginning, they decided not to film in front of a live audience for Season 7, partly so they could have more impressive sets and not have to worry about the logistics of managing that with a live audience, but also because they wanted to go for more drama this season. A lot of people don't like the idea of a lack of a live audience for Red Dwarf, but I feel that Tikka to Ride is proof that it can pay off. Visually, this episode is gorgeous. The shots inside Starbug and, of course, the scenes involving Kennedy's assassination. They actually considered having these sequences be in black and white to show the time period, but decided not to because it looked so good already, they didn't want anyone mistaking it for stock footage. But yeah, scenes like that one, the vast insides of Starbug, and the shot at the airport obviously couldn't have been done if a live audience had to be taken into consideration. Also, for how goofy this episode starts, it ends up being pretty heavy near the end. I do like how they portray JFK as a complex and flawed human being who redeems himself in the end. I genuinely tear up at the point where he vanishes.
Yeah.
Also, fun fact, apparently there were 3 vagrants nearby during the Kennedy assassination, and conspiracy theorists like to play with the idea that they were involved somehow. I suppose you could argue that Lister is somewhat out of character in this episode. They definitely exaggerate his obsession with Curry, where he's willing to sabotage Crichton's body to get some, despite him normally humanizing Crichton. But I find it generally funny, and even if I didn't, just about everything else in this episode makes up for it. This is probably one of my favorite episodes overall. As for aesthetic changes for Season 7, Lister and Rimmer look about the same, and Cat's look is slightly different again, which I'll go into in the Cat videos, of course. With Crichton, they decided to kind of highlight the angles on his face, and I don't quite care for the effect. I don't think it's a bad idea, I just think it could have been a little more subtle. Maybe have a bit more transition there instead of having sharp lines, or maybe just make the lines a color that pops a little less. I think this is the only season where he looks like that, so maybe I'm not alone there. So if you don't know, the next episode would have been a cat-centric episode called Identity Within, except that it was never made and only exists as a narrated animatic. I was going to cover that next, but I think it's more appropriate to cover it in the cat videos. So next up is Stoke Me a Clipper. See you then.
Okay, I think I'll stop that once I'll wind down pretty soon here.
You have altered the entire course of civilization from the 20th century onwards. You brought the world to the brink of nuclear war, and worst of all...
No, I still haven't had the curry.
There we go. Where'd I leave off at? Oops, I guess I forgot to... Oh, there it is. The Wicked Witch of the West actress got badly burned on her exit as the green makeup was made with copper and very flammable. Oh, yeah, I remember that. Oh, what was that? Oh, thank you, George. No message, but thank you for the donation. What's with the original Wizard of Oz and almost killing their actors like 5 times with props and makeup and stuff? They just weren't as careful back then. Also, you know, I think they probably didn't know that asbestos was harmful and, you know, similar situations like that. But yeah, that's why there's laws now about that protect them. Margaret Hamilton's doctor literally chewed out the studio producer after she was burned. Good. Safety wasn't the past strong suit, yeah. I don't really like that they retconned Rimmer's destruction of the time drive. Yeah. Does Spock from Star Trek ever show any emotion? Oh yeah, there was one episode in particular where he was like really happy to see Captain Kirk and he smiles and goes, "Jim!" Kind of a famous scene, actually. The the Kirk and Spock shippers love that one. Time travel gives me a migraine. Yeah, it's one of those things you can't think about too much. Turn this heater back off. It's a metaphysical par for the course where Rimmer is concerned. By the way, we're in space. Thank you, Captain Obvious. The Wicked Witch's makeup was so toxic she literally couldn't eat anything lest she accidentally ingested any. Oh, yeah. 1939 was a very different time. Yeah, it sure was. I do want to see the Series 6.5 episode where Lister goes on a quest for a new guitar after it gets accidentally broken in the crash. My phone has only just now notified me of this live stream. Oh, thanks, YouTube. Vindaloo is great. Papadom's not so much, but I will tear into some naan. I've never had either of those. I have had Vindaloo that I've made myself. It is pretty good. Now my eye itches. Maybe it was having lunch with the Hitlers. My heavens, I'm head to head. Good thing that Lister didn't actually replace Crichton's head with Sparehead 3. Yeah, I thought about that. I don't think I thought about that when I made this episode, but I thought about it just now while watching it. Guess Sparehead 3 would have been way too much of a dead giveaway, yeah. Without a laugh track, this episode really does feel like a movie. It kind of does. I bought chili-infused honeys and wasabi white chocolate yesterday. You eat some weird stuff, George. It sounds interesting, though. I would probably try it once. I probably wouldn't like it, but... And spare hand would be just flipping everyone the bird. Yeah. I love how casually you said that. Yeah, they just killed Lee Harvey Oswald. Well, they did it in a casual way, so... This is like that Stephen King book, but only funny. Oh, did he write a book about JFK? I guess I remember vaguely, that it existed. I don't remember any of the details about it. Sorry, bumped my mic again, as I want to do. Only Red Dwarf would this be played for laughs. Yeah. I don't care where we go as long as before we had dinner. That's a good line. I'm not familiar with Star Trek, but it feels like Red Dwarf's version of City on the Edge of Forever. Oh yeah, it does a little bit. But why the Kennedy assassination? I mean, why not? I'm not sure what you're asking. The world isn't split into good people and Death Eaters. That's a good line. Otherwise, they'd just be picking on the chickens. There's a cannibalism comment. Fun fact, human flesh allegedly tastes like pork. I've heard that. Actually, I think I mentioned that in the cat video where I cover this one. But pigs have been known to eat bacon without provocation. Yeah, I've heard that. That's pigs aren't too bright, maybe. I wonder what the actors were eating in real life. Yeah, good question. It's hard to tell by looking at it. Remember the Simpsons episode where Homer trained to be a bodyguard? The instructor's tools included a small grassy knoll on wheels. More like you probably would need a gorilla. Yeah, that might be a better way to describe it. It's like Cat's been around humans so much he couldn't think of them as food at this point is what I was trying to get at. Again, I think I talk about that in the cat episode for this for the cat video for this episode. I love the resolution of this episode. It'll drive the conspiracy nuts crazy. Kind of weird how I can't help but think of the Mayor Quimby every time I see JFK portrayed in other media. This guy does kind of sound like Mayor Quimby, doesn't he? The JFK actor was so good here, yeah. He was. Depends on the country and culture if one would eat a cat or a dog. Well, obviously, but I'm assuming anybody watching this chat is not from one of those countries. I assume anyone watching would not eat a cat or a dog. By default. Given the events of recent years, I definitely appreciate this episode about a former president who takes responsibility and makes the ultimate sacrifice for a better America. Yeah, it is kind of refreshing, isn't it? That isn't really a punishment. Referring to Lister being exiled, I think. Fuck, it refreshed again. There it is. The actor playing JFK is played by a man named Michael J. Shannon, and he also played an aide to the president in Superman 2. Oh, that's so funny. I remember the president in Superman 2 was played by E.G. Marshall. Smoke me a kip or I'll see you at breakfast? Not to be confused with Michael Shannon, who played Zod in The Man of Steel. That's too funny. Small world. Looks like a pretty sweet deal. Loads of your favorite food and no Rimmer. True. If you're Lister, anyway. Watching Lister going cold turkey over curry would probably not be a pretty sight. Yeah. The storyboard cat has such big canines. Yeah, he does. They draw him in kind of a cartoonier way. This version of Crichton is where my profile pic comes from. Oh, yeah. It's from a behind-the-scenes photo where he's hugging Chloe Annette. Or Annette. I guess it's probably Annette. I've always said Annette for some reason. I don't know why. Annette is a real name. It's probably that. Oh, good Lord, Identity Crisis, the cat episode we deserved but never got. Tell me about it. I understand that one of the stuntmen was killed on the set of Ben-Hur. Oh, I think I've heard that. We won't even talk about all the bad stuff that happened to animals while filming movies before they started cracking down on that. I think asbestos was known as a harmful substance back then, but a lot of movies used it as it looked a lot like real snow. Like I said, very different times. It's possible they knew. I kind of feel like they didn't, but honestly, I don't know the exact point when they supposedly realized it was harmful, so I'm, take that with a grain of salt. It's not a hill I need to die on. Makes me happy to know Judy Garland frequently visited Margaret Hamilton while she recovered. Oh, that's nice. I've seen one or two scenes from Star Trek, the original series, where Spock does smile, particularly in a scene where he plays his Vulcan lute thing for Uhura. I don't think I've seen that clip, or at least I don't remember it. I will not accept any Papa Dom slander. Papa Doms are like crispy, like chips, aren't they? I've never had them, but that's what I think they're like. My favorite scene in The Wizard of Oz was the cyclone scene because of how good the tornado effects looked, which was before CGI. Yeah, it did look really good, and I'm trying to remember how they did it. I know for the scene where the house appears to fall on the camera, they actually just lifted up the house and, a miniature house, of course, and played it backwards. The dog that played Toto got stomped on by one of the flying monkeys. Thankfully, Toto survived. Oh, man. Poor doggy. Yeah, and I like how Margaret was really supportive of Judy when the guys weren't, as they didn't like the idea of being upstaged by a woman. Sign of the times. Ugh. Gross. But yeah, it's nice how they stuck together. Naan is a yeast flatbread cooked in a tandoor. It's basically, imagine a really thick tortilla or like a pita bread. It's really good. Okay. Yeah, I've definitely heard of it. I've just never had it. Did you ever see the tornado scene from Superman 4 made 40 years later? No wonder they cut it out of some versions. Don't remember that. Oh, the Stephen King book, 11/22/63. There we go. I thought I remembered that I knew the title, but I couldn't remember it. I remembered that I knew it, but I didn't remember it. Whatever. Fun fact, the dog that played Toto was female in real life. She was called Terry. Aw. Yeah, fun. It's a common fun fact that Lassie was played by a male dog. I think because male collies have a shinier coat or something. Yeah, the book Stephen King wrote was called 11/22/63. Weirdly, Red Dwarf's episode predated the book. That's funny. Yeah, I think Stephen King did write a time travel story about the Kennedy assassination. That's right. I knew I'd heard of it. I just couldn't remember the name or really the details. To be fair, Twister made tornadoes look amazing yet terrifying at the same time. Yeah. Oh, they made it into a Hulu movie or series. That's right. I think I knew that too, but I don't have Hulu, so. Anyone? Oh, hi, Sweet Waldo. Anyone have a good Vindaloo recipe? I have a Vindaloo recipe, but I don't know if it's good. I'm not exactly a Vindaloo aficionado. I wonder if I could find it really quick. The name of the website is on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of it right now. Taste Asian food? No, that's not it. Nah, I don't know. I'm just saying the Kennedy assassination was a weird time to pick. I guess it seems weird because Red Dwarf is a British show. You'd think they would have picked something from British history. Other than that, I don't know. It seems like doesn't seem that strange to me. It's one of those things that gets referenced a lot. I've said it already a few times, but when it comes to Indian food, I'm more about the savories rather than the spices. Yeah. Yeah, I know pigs will eat anything, and they don't have an off switch either. They'll keep eating until they explode. Going back to the Wizard of Oz, Dorothy was in real danger when she fell into the pig pen. Oh, yeah. All things considered, while some of it shows its age, it's amazing how well the special effects hold up in the Wizard of Oz. Yeah, it does look really good. Oops. Generally, the presidents in films / shows tend to be good. I'll just leave that comment there. Stoke a clipper, I'll be back for breakfast. Everyone keeps saying it wrong. It's stoke me a clipper, I'll be back for breakfast. That's why I acted confused, because he worded it wrong, but I didn't know if it was intentional or not. I like the president in Superman 2 as well. He knelt before Zod, but did it for the rest of the world. Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty cool. And you could tell it hurt him to do it. Speaking of weird food, I bought salami made from wild boar and buffalo yesterday. Interesting. I was at a farmer's market. Still better than eating pets. Yeah. I've had bison meat before. It's really good. Has kind of a, it tastes similar to beef, but it's got kind of a sweetness to it. I haven't had it in ages, but we used to love it. Judy Garland got really close to Terry the dog in real life and tried to adopt her after the movie, but Terry's trainer also, I guess, loved her and refused to give her up. Aw. Yes, chips with a distinct flavor to them that I'm just not into. Oh, okay. Regarding Papa Doms. They blew dirt or dust or something down a sheet of cloth. Oh, okay. Yeah, Papa Doms are sort of like crisps in texture, at least. I rather like them. I'm pretty sure that Judy and the Scarecrow, Tin Man, and Lion got very close in real life, too. Yeah. One would think. Oh, Papa Doms are made of corn. So I imagine they probably taste a little bit like corn chips. Like Doritos. But without the same spice. They're really good with mint yogurt sauce. Interesting. Oh, that tornado scene was terrible. It's part animation, part dirt swirling in water, and part looking up through a cardboard tube with a swirly clouds painted on it. Wow. Lassie the crying game for dogs. Give me a break. They managed to convince us a man could fly but couldn't make a better looking Twister than the one from The Wizard of Oz. Glad we don't get Twisters in the UK. They look scary. Yeah, they do. We sometimes do get tornadoes, but they usually don't do much damage. I missed the chance to see one many years ago. I would have seen it if I had gone out onto the roof of the shop I worked at. Excuse me. I love me some spice in my curries. In my mind, korma isn't a curry. It's too sweet. Excuse me. Damn. Here comes the heartburn. Came later than usual today. I remember when Twister came out, I was living near Sacramento. Oh, trippy. At the time, and we frequently had dust devils, nothing devastating but captivating. Stoke me a clip or I'll be back for Christmas. Stroke me a chip or I'll be back for Christmas. Mind you, I love how he reacted by saying, "Oh God," and Zod thought he was saying his name wrong. Yeah, that was cute. Oh God, Zod. I was going to use that clip when I was trying to years and years and years ago, like back when I lived in Memphis, I started a film den on Creepshow and I never finished it. And in one bit I was going to talk about all the various things I'd seen, other things I'd seen E.G. Marshall in, and I posted that particular clip of Superman 2 where he's saying, "Oh God, Zod." Wizard of Oz had to do the color transition manually as well due to computers still being primitive. They painted the house in sepia and had Judy's double in a sepia dyed dress and filmed in color. Yeah, I remember that. She would open the door and step away for Judy to step into frame. I think they were just talking about that on Game Grumps in a recent video I watched. It's also amazing how Oz went through multiple directors but doesn't feel as disjointed as certain movies I could mention. Yeah. Not a Dina Stream without heartburn, I know. Milo and Otis was the first film that made me aware of how filmmakers made animals expendable. Oddly / thankfully, I think it's one of the last. Yeah. I didn't want to mention that one specifically, but yeah. I thought that movie was so cute when I first saw it too, and then I heard that and I was like, oh. Well, even your heartburn is time traveling. I watched 12 Angry Men the other night. Oh yeah, that was another thing I was going to mention E.G. Marshall was in. Yeah, he was good in that. Apparently the ruby slippers were really uncomfortable in real life, and Judy only wore them in the film when you could see her feet, from what I've heard. I don't think I've heard that, but I can believe it. By the way, Mac McDonald, a.k.a. Captain Hollister, was in 2 DC movies in a 3-year time span. A Prison Guard in Superman 4, and one of the Joker's goons in Batman 89. Yeah, I know about Batman 89. I actually mentioned that when I talked about Batman Returns. I'm getting out of breath. My throat's getting sore. Cloak me a slipper. I'll be back for Jack's Mix. I like that one. Sounds like a Red Dwarf episode, a time-traveling heartburn. Sounds like something they would reference. Like, remember the time-traveling heartburn? That was a bad, half-assed attempt at a Lister impression there. You're spending your time thinking these up, aren't you? This stream brought to you by conversations about My Little Pony, Indian food, JFK, and Wizard of Oz. Oh yeah, we did have a food discussion technically, didn't we? It was related, but still. Bloat me a flipper, I'll be back for taxes. Okay, you guys. Thanks for joining me. Yeah, we'll pick up with Stoke Me a Clipper next weekend. And yeah, I'll see you then.